everybody? Flamin' Shark back with another video, and today we begin ChäoS Head Noah. That's right, we are sort of beginning our journey into the science adventure universe. We technically have started this journey already. For those of you who are not aware, Steins Gate is one of, if not my favorite anime of all time. I am a massive fan of Steins Gate, but I have never played the visual novels. Now, I have reactions to Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero, and there probably will be two playlists that are born out of this game starting. I'm probably going to make a ChäoS Head playlist, which might also eventually include ChäoS Child if we do play ChäoS Child one day. And I will probably also make a science adventure playlist, like a master playlist, that will not be labeled an individual number. It won't be considered a series, but there will be a science adventure master playlist, which should include my reactions to Steins Gate Zero, as well as my Let's Plays of ChäoS Head and any other future Sci-Av games that I decide to play, which gets us to the kind of lore here beyond the fact. The main reason I'm doing this is because I love Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero, so much so that I want a grander Chiyomaru experience. I have every intention to play the Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero visual novels one day, despite the fact that I will obviously know the plot points and stuff. Even so, I still want to experience those visual novels in their original form, kind of as a return to that universe. However, I also figure that because I love Steins Gate so much, why not dive deeper into the science adventure universe? And if I'm going to, why not do it from the beginning? Now, the way it works out, ChäoS Head is the first game in the science adventure universe. Steins Gate is the second. So the way I see it, we're going to play ChäoS Head, see how it goes, and hypothetically, if this ends up being like the worst game of all time and I hate it so much, well then I can move on and just do Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero and move on without the science adventure universe. However, if this turns out to be amazing, which I am expecting it to land in that I'm expecting to like this a lot. I'm not going to lie. Then we will, Steins Gate would still be the next game in this franchise isn't even the right way to put it, because like ChäoS Head and ChäoS Child is kind of like the ChäoS franchise. You have the Steins franchise or the Steins Gate franchise. Like, I consider them different franchises, but they do all exist within the same universe, and I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, playing all the games, there will be things where I feel like these games are designed simultaneously to be very easy to play without a greater knowledge, but also have subtle connections. That's my understanding / guessing, because there was nothing I was able to glean, at least from the anime adaptations of Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero, that made me think that it existed within the context of other works as well. So I'm expecting it to all be rather subtle and not largely plot relevant, but it's going to be hard to see, and there's really only one way to find out. Regardless, I am really excited for this, and I don't know anything about this. As far as I know, don't even know what a character or characters look like. I don't know anything about ChäoS Head, and I'm going into this about as blind as one could. Outside of the fact that I know that it's the first game in the science adventure universe, which Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero occupies, and I have experience with, 5PB mages, whatever, Chiyomaru, and because of my experience with Chiyomaru, I guess I do have some expectations for what this might be like based on Steins Gate. I am expecting that and the name Science Adventure and the name ChäoS Head, so I have a lot of things to predict. First of all, as it pertains to the science adventure tagline that all of these games exist within, I'm expecting some degree of not even necessarily like scientific kind of basis, even though I do think that like, chaos theory and the concept of chaos is something that came up in Steins Gate, so I'm not entirely against the idea that the idea of chaos is going to be at the forefront of Chaos Head. That would make a lot of sense to me. But in what form does this chaos take? Could be infinite. There truly are infinite possibilities, which, ironically, in that regard, is something that could relate to Steins Gate as well, although I think in a very different context to what it might mean in Chaos Head. I don't know what the head part of Chaos Head could possibly be referring to. Mental, neurological stuff, potentially. Obviously, that was something that was kind of a bit of a background. There was a little bit of background noise, for lack of a better term, about kind of the neurological elements in the story of Steins Gate, and then it really came to the forefront in Steins Gate Zero. But, like, I don't think because it's science adventure that it absolutely has to have, like, direct correlations to being, like, science-y, right? Because I know, like, Robotics Notes is one of the other, like, main games in this series. There's Robotics Notes and Robotics Notes Dash, so it even has a sequel. And that, when you hear that name, it's like, okay, it's going to have something to do with robots or robotics. I mean, I would assume, based on that name, and it's like, okay, that's a direct correlation to a science, right? That's engineering, that's, that type of stuff, and it's like, that's interesting in a scientific point of view. And Steins Gate, you think, here's Steins, you think Einstein, and you think theory of relativity, and you kind of make that direct connection to science. Chaos is more of an indirect connection to science, because chaos theory is a real thing, but it's not a word that you immediately associate with science, which makes me wonder if this game is going to have a bit of a looser association to science compared to Steins Gate, and I would assume Robotics Notes, but I guess we'll find out one day in that regard as well. Assuming this game isn't terrible to the point where it's like, yeah, outside of Steins Gate, I'm actually not interested. But I am expecting to really like this. Hard to really make a real prediction as to what this could be. These names are vague enough to where I could hypothesize a little bit about, like, a little bit of the metaphorical meaning, but I'm not going to actually get any degree of a prediction on what the plot of this is going to be. What I will say, though, before we get started is, like I said, my love of the Steins Gate anime is on par with my love of any fictional media I've ever consumed. It is one of the greatest series of all time. It is everything to me, which does make me wonder, what could this game be? And I think the ceiling is limitless, right? With it being, this Chiyomaru work and all that, I don't doubt the possibilities of Chaos Head. I think this game doesn't have a ceiling as far as how much I might enjoy it. I think as far as a floor, I'm expecting it to be really good. I'm not going into this expecting this to be a Steins Gate level work. I'm never going to go into any work expecting a work on the level of my, like, absolute peak, right? Like, stuff like Utena, stuff like Evangelion, stuff like Steins Gate. I'm never going to go into anything looking at it on the level of my all-time favorite works, that type of thing. But I will say that I am going into this with fairly high expectations. I do believe in Chiyomaru and that whole brain trust enough that I am expecting this to be really good. I'm not going into this expecting Steins Gate. I'm never going to go into any game necessarily expecting Steins Gate. But I do have very high hopes for this, and I am very excited to actually jump into Chaos Head and see what it looks like. And before we start, I am doing the I have the version modded, so you don't have to worry about that. That's all chill. From my understanding, most, if not like all people that do the Let's Play, use the modded version. That's what we're doing. And then last but not least, I have no idea when you're gonna see this. This is kind of a project I'm going to be pre-recording. I'm recording this. It's 3:20 in the afternoon on July 17th, 2024. I have no idea when you guys are going to see this come out. I always have this video and potentially other ChäoS Head videos in the tank if I ever feel like, oh, I need to post something or ever, need to drop this. But I wanted to get into another Let's Play on top of what I'm currently doing, which at the time I'm currently doing like Persona 3 Reload and stuff. And I wanted to get into this, and this is just the thing. I've been kind of itching to play this for a while, and I find this actually almost ended up being what was Persona 3 Reload. When I started that, I almost did ChäoS Head Noah, and I have no idea when this is going to come. This is kind of like when I started AI The Somnium Files, or I think even when I started like the first Danganronpa, like I kind of started it before having any idea of when you guys are going to get it. There is a very real possibility this doesn't even see the light of day in the year of 2024. I'd like for this video to come out this year, but I have no idea if it's going to be a 2024 video or a 2025 video, but I'm just telling you that I'm recording this on July 17th, 2024. And with all of that preamble out of the way, I think it's time to begin the ChäoS Head Noah visual novel. So, I am clicking on my little thing, and I might have this on the screen. We're going to go 1920 by 1080. We're going to go full screen. Song subtitles, we'll go karaoke plus translation. I don't know how many songs are in here. Troubleshooting, it looks like everything's fine there. Should be good. Yeah, this all looks good. I think everything's fine. So now, with all of that being said, we have been recording, everything's looking good. I will start ChäoS Head Noah. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Keep out. Caution. System data not found. System data will be created. Creating system data. Okay. This work contains seeds of extreme growth. Fuck! I didn't even get to read that. Yep. Mages. Chiyomaru Studio. These graphics are going really fast. Nitro Plus. I kind of want to read that. It said extreme. Yo. 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 This is kind of sick. Wait, okay, yeah, I pressed the right button on accident. ChäoS Head Noah, if you were God and your delusions could become reality, what delusions would you wish for? A sensual world, a despotic society, destructive sanctions, or... Okay, right off the bat, this is loud. I don't even want to know. There's a lot going on here. Text settings are probably fine. Sound settings, here we go. Voice volume, I usually... This feels good. Voice volume, I usually want higher. Okay, characters, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to look at... Okay, I don't want to get spoiled on anything. I really like this title screen. Immediately, I'm getting huge Steins Gate vibes. And of course, Spike Chunsoft published this like they always do with like every visual novel ever, it feels like, over here. But yeah, you know, we got mages, we got Chiyomaru Studio, it's all the things you want to see. So, first of all, two things. The visuals are really interesting. This background feels very post-apocalyptic. It feels very Steins Gate-y, for lack of a better way to put it. This definitely feels like something out of Steins Gate, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't... It's interesting. Like, I wasn't expecting to go into this game and see something that would feel this much like... I didn't expect to see something that would feel this much like Steins Gate. I don't know what I was expecting, but this feels really Steins Gate-y. And even the, like you see how we have, like, the different, like, chords going through? It's kind of, it's not, like, the same as World Lines, but it kind of reminds me a little What the fuck? Grouch soft, mine doors, perfect. What am I looking at? I don't even want to look at this, but there's like passwords. Dude, this is cool. This is like, I really like the way this is, and like continue doesn't have any like connection. You can't go into it because there's nothing to continue because I've never played this game. I really like the way the presentation of this right out the gate is like already like very cool. The font is very Steins Gate-y. Like, again, I wasn't expecting this to aesthetically look so much like Steins Gate from the opening, like, scene, like the opening shot. This is really interesting to me. So I'll have to work on the, like I said, the sound settings are the one thing. I don't know about any of these. Like, I feel like BGM and sound effects, I might go on the lower end. Voice and movie, usually I like to put the voice up really loud because I'm not normally going to talk during the, I normally don't want to talk during the, you know, like when they're talking, I'm going to mostly be silent. Hearing weird sound effects. Also, the Nozomi system, and they're all initial. This is like, you know what this is reminding me of? Like, this is interesting. This is really cool. So I feel like I might want to turn the voices up, but I haven't heard them yet, so I don't know. And the movie volume, same thing. So there's gonna be like cutscenes and stuff. All right, like, it's weird because it's loud in my ear, but I don't know how I'm gonna edit all of the sound anyways, right? So I just have to get the sound mixing right here, and then I can make the sound whatever compared to my voice that I think is perfect. Like, I can edit that. So it's all a matter of getting voice to BGM to sound effects to movie, like getting these 4 settings how I want them. I feel like we're gonna start with this, and I'm probably gonna tinker with it once I hear all of it in action. ChäoS Head Noah. If you were God and your delusions could become reality, what delusions would you wish for? A sensual world, a despotic society, destructive sanctions, or... So this is very Steins Gate too, and I guess that, and I'm gonna, and I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I believe there's quotes like this for every science adventure game. If you were God and your delusions could become reality. So delusions, the idea of being delusional, that's interesting because that reminds me a lot of Steins Gate. And that's the thing, I don't want to reference Steins Gate too much for anyone who might want to go on the VN journey with me, but I'm assuming that most of you guys have probably either played all these games and you've probably at least watched the Steins Gate animes as well. So I feel like I'm just going to warn you that I'm probably going to reference my past experience with Steins Gate and so on and so forth. As we go through the science adventure games, I'm going to, from the base point, assume you guys have either played the VNs of Steins Gate or watched the anime for Steins Gate and Zero. And from this point on, I'm going to expect you to have experienced the previous VNs. So, like, when I do, like, ChäoS Child, obviously ChäoS Child, but if I'm doing, like, robotics notes, I'll expect you to have, like, played ChäoS Head or watched it with me or whatever. So, delusion's a concept that comes up a lot in Steins Gate with the protagonist in particular, both because of his own kind of character archetype and because of the unbelievable shit that he has to go through, the trauma and all of that. But this is talking about delusions in, like, a more, like, in the sense of, like, delusions becoming real. Like, what if you had the power to make your delusions real? And that's an interesting framing. What delusions would you wish for? Because with delusions, you don't necessarily get to pick your delusions. But this is kind of proposing, like, if you had, like, these super-powered, like, wish-fueled delusions, what are the delusions you wish you could get? You know, a sensual world, that's kind of speaking on a positive sense, at least, you know, theoretically that's a positive, but then it gets into a despotic society, you know, it's kind of something more depressing. Destructive sanctions is a weird way to frame it, but that goes into, more, like, again, a more, like, violent world. And then there's just ore. And then I feel like the ore is the tease, because I feel like that's what we're actually going to get into. Not the sensual world, not a despotic society, not destructive sanctions. Now, we might get all three, but the ore is just really ominous, because it's like, what is that going to refer to? Really interesting stuff. I know I'm overanalyzing the shit out of this, but that's what we do here on The Flaming Shark, especially when we're playing a visual novel. So let's begin. Chaos Head Noah. Ooh. What do we got? What's this gonna look like? We're already quick saved. Okay. Okay, that's actually decently loud.
その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、
So there's a gaze always watching you.
熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、
Piercing through the thick black rain clouds. Okay, I like that.
雨のように僕へと降り注ぐ。
I'm not gonna lie, I'm already getting Emiya Shiro vibes. I'm already getting Fate vibes.
僕を見るな。
Interesting.
雨の冷たさより、背中を預けている瓦礫の冷たさのせいで、
So we're getting into the
さっ
phenomenon
きから体の震えが止まらない。
of that feeling of someone watching you, and whether it's
ひど
real
く
or
寒
not.
い。
That could
突
be
き刺
getting
さっ
into
て
the
くる
delusion
誰
concept
のもの
too.
かもわからない天からの視線。
Yeah.
それから逃げるように、僕はわずかに首を持ち上げて周囲を見回す。
Okay. Yeah, there's the thing. That's the intro. Yeah, inside.
そ
That's
こ
what
に
it
ある
said.
のは崩壊した街。そこにあるのは
Ruined city.
絶望。
No! You said the Z
そ
word!
こにあるのは死。
I've played enough Danganronpa to know you never
そこ
say
にあるのは
despair.
無。
This is a cool intro.
誰もいない。誰も動いていない。誰も生きていない。
Jesus. So something really bad happened,
聞こえるのは
or we're imagining
ただ降り
something,
続
or
ける雨の
seeing
音
the
だけ。
future. A lot of possibilities here. Delusions
この
again.
まま全てを。生きているものも死んでいるものも全てを優しく包み込んで洗い流してしまうんだろうか。
Interesting.
全部の出来事が単なる妄想だったらよかったんだけど。
Oh, there's the mention of the delusion, but it doesn't seem to be a delusion. Interesting. Oh, is this our...
体が
Is
動
this
かない。
us?
動かせるのはかろうじて首と瞳だけ。
Okay. So he's like,
体が震えて
maybe
い
not
る
on the
けど、
verge of death, but he's...
そんなのただの生理現象でしかない。僕の意志じゃない。僕は身を震わせたいなんて思ってない。僕の自由にならないなら、こんなの僕の体じゃない。
Interesting. We're talking about the concept of
ある
free
いは
will and
生まれた時から
consciousness.
僕
Yeah.
は自由なんかじゃ
Oh.
なかったかもしれない。心の保管してある場所なんて誰にもわからないんだ。
This is... Ooh, we're getting into the really deep stuff right away. I'm so
一体
here for
誰が
this.
この体の
Dude,
中
I'm
に
so
僕
hyped
の
for
心が
this.
あるって言い切れるんだ。
Is there a soul inside this body of mine?
でも、
I mean, this is a really, like,
だったら僕はどこにいたんだろ
philosophical way to look at
う。
it.
僕は
It's
ここにいる
interesting
のか
that
な。
we're seemingly looking at this
僕は
character.
どこにもいないのかな。
We're immediately getting the idea this character is very philosophical.
すべてが静止している。壊
Okay.
れてしまった世界に
Are they standing on that rubble or are they
死の
floating? It's
雨
hard
以
to
外の
tell.
音が響く。
The rain of death is wild.
無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの湯。君は誰？
Okay.
その肌が青白く見えるのは雨の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも君がもう死んでいるから。 で
Oh,
も
that goes again into like the
彼
the
女は震えてい
philosophical
なかった。
idea of whether you're already dead, because she very clearly
そして
isn't. But
前髪で隠れそうになっている
there's more
その
meaning
瞳
behind
は
that. Oh, I think she's got pink hair. I think this is the girl. So I forgot to mention this. I do have the desktop like image for the patch version of the game, and it is like a girl with pink hair.
狂気じみて
I
いる
can't
よ
tell
う
if
にも見え
that's
る
the girl or not because we haven't seen her face yet.
何も映していないようにも
Eyes
見
that
え
are
る
terribly sad. They look like they have a hint of madness, and they look as if they reflect nothing.
もしも
Hmm.
世界には僕と彼女の2人だけしかいなくて
Yeah.
こうしてお互いだけを永遠に見つめ合ってい
Oh, is he
た
gonna
ら
say, would the world around us even really exist?
僕の世界は
Yeah.
彼女の瞳に映るもの
Wow,
だけ
this
に
is a
なるのか
really philosophical character, at least in this
彼女の
moment.
世界は僕の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな
Hmm.
彼女の瞳に映るものは僕の瞳に映るものは彼女そう考えると世界は途端に矮小化する
ねえ
不意に僕の耳に届くとても綺麗なノイズ
Hmm.
彼女はうなだれて両手を左右に広げる
Huh.
まるであの雨雲の上へ向けて飛び
It's
立とうと
like
す
I'm
るかの
getting
よう
vibes of Fate, Ava, and Steins Gate all at once.
あるいは
This is...
この雨すべてを受け止めようとするかのように
I'm like enraptured in this. Oh, for a second I thought my game crashed.
あなたを見つめ
All that's watching you
そう
is a delusion. Oh my god. Literally nothing's gonna be real. And we're not gonna know. Oh, this is... Oh, I'm getting DR2
僕の
Oh
力を伺い知
no.
ることができない
The game is literally telling us that we're not gonna be able to trust anything that happens in this freaking game.
雨の薄膜の向こうで
Oh.
君はどんな顔をしている
Oh no. Behind this
Gotta
thin veil,
stay
what kind of face you're making is interesting.
天使乱舞する光の羽
I
は
will say, the production on this is already a lot more than I was expecting.
それとも
I'm not gonna lie.
ああそうか
Hmm.
理解したよそれで僕を殺してくれるんだね
Yeah, it looks like she's gonna
ゆっくりと
kiss you, but I think you have the right...
倒れている僕の前に彼女が膝をつくいまだに彼女はうなだれたまま僕の頭を
Does
そ
she
っと
kiss you
抱
or
えてく
does
る
she stab you? Or does she
僕
do
を見
both?
てくれないことに僕
You're
はほ
gonna
っと
let
し
it
て
happen.
ただ身を委ねた
But I mean, she said herself that it's a delusion. So we're going to like snap out of the delusion, and it's just gonna be regular life, right? As beautiful as it is discordant.
よく聞こえない
But at the same time, whatever this is,
暖かく
it's a
て
delusion, but it's not
柔らかくて
fake, right? It's somewhere in
優しくて
between. Ooh.
甘美な感触
We're actually, I think, going to get
それは
a series built on my
麻酔のようで
favorite phrase. Perception
不思
is
議なことに
reality.
体の震えがゆっくりと収まっていく
Oh, she like
彼女のかすかな
made
鼻
him
息が
feel nothing?
僕の頬をくすぐる
Well, maybe not nothing, but
とても甘い匂い
huh.
ふと胸に圧迫感を覚えた
It's the
彼
her
女の持っ
blade,
てい
right?
た大きな剣が
Yeah.
僕の胸の皮膚を裂き肉をえぐり骨の間を縫いゆっくりと体の中に沈み込んできているでも彼女のキスという麻酔にかけられてもう痛みを感じないこんなにも優しく殺してくれるから不意に切なくなって涙があふれそうになってそれをごまかすために彼女の頭越しに雨を落とし続けている
No.
鈍色の空を見上げた
Huh.
空が滲んでいる
This is so
のは
interesting because it's the
雨
beginning,
のせい
but I know, especially from my
None of them
experience with Steins Gate, I'm wondering if this is the
No.
end of the visual novel,
あの視
or at
線
least
も
one
感じ
of
ない
the endings.
も
'Cause, yeah, I forgot about that. There's gonna
何もない
be multiple endings
う
in this
薄れ
game
ゆ
for
く意識
sure.
の中で僕は空へと手を伸ばす誰か 教えて。
Somebody please tell me.
僕たちのあの空はどこへ行ったんだろ
Just where could that sky of ours have gone? That's a very, like, poetic way to put it. That, like, it all fell apart. Oh, shit. Opening? Oh, shit. Actual... Wait. Anime opening? Imagine if the delusion becomes reality. Yo. Yo, let them cook? What is Oh, yeah, and that's the transition to the blue sky. I know about the bounds of the universe. Oh, my God. Okay, that looks like maybe Akihabara. There lies a dead end made of glass. It's definitely Tokyo, though. Probably isn't Akihabara, but it's definitely Tokyo. Visual scenery beyond the glass. Oh, these transitions are cool. Okay, so we're probably going to spend a lot of time on our computer. He's a weeb. It's interesting that girl that he has pink hair. Oh my God, is this a like anime character turned to life? What is that? The delusion? Oh. Okay, a bunch of girls. They're all girls. It's best to erase my own existence as well. For biorhythms are truly a special thing. What the hell? They're like, yeah, they're weapons. I swear I saw like flashing of like underwear of one of those girls too. There's a lot going on. Smile, I sometimes see crumbles like paper mache. I'm like so interested in the lyrics, but the visuals are really interesting. There's like, oh, that's like a freaking Hunter x Hunter Tokyo Ghoul visual. Whose eyes are those eyes? The play has begun. Yeah. Oh, Chaos Head Noah. Chapter 1, Eyes in Eyes. What the hell? I couldn't see the gaze. Oh, am I controlling the game now? Okay, it looks like I can actually yeah, cuz that was all auto scroll. I literally put my controller down. Yeah, okay, we are in control. I couldn't see it even though it was watching me. It was strange. Can I pause? Ooh, I can. Backlog? What's backlog? Oh, okay. Ooh, we can, and it does have all the voice lines.
不意に切なくなって
So if we want,
涙が溢れそうになって
cool. So if we want to like analyze some lines or like a whole conversation, if we want to really dive deep into it, because you guys know I do like to break this stuff down. We can. I want to explore the rest of this. So we have quick save. So we could just quick save and we can quick load, which is interesting. And then we actually have save. So we have like hard saves. We only have 8. Also, yeah, it's like a computer. And there's like I assume an anime girl in the background. Interesting. Eyes and eyes. Okay, so we have quick saves. Lock data? What does that even mean? Oh, it is locked. Okay, I don't even know what that means. And then if we load, we have our real saves, but there's whatever a quick save is. Tips list? I don't even... Oh my god. Yeah, I do like how this is all like... Yeah, it's all like... Interesting. Config, that's the sound. So far, I think the sound's fine. Help. Oh, that's just the controls. That's fine. I don't need the controls. I'm using my controller. I don't know if there's any, like, gameplay in this. I'm not expecting it, but you never know, I guess. So yeah, that was the prologue for Chaos Head Noah, and this was really interesting, because it did feel like, I do wonder if we just saw one of the endings to the visual novel, because that would be a very Chiyomaru thing to do, but obviously Steins Gate is built around the concept of time, like that's the whole kind of deal here. But I guess when you look at this, like I said, I got Fate vibes, Steins Gate vibes, Ava vibes, all things. The fucking Zetsubo.
そこにあるのは絶望
But like there are like a few like really interesting lines. Like obviously the stuff here at the front, those eyes are always watching me. You know, like that's really interesting. And then he gets really philosophical about the idea of like, you know, how he wishes this was a delusion, but it clearly isn't. But then he talks about how, like, if he can't control his body, you know, then it isn't my body. Like here, if I can't move it freely, then it isn't my body. And then he goes a step further about like free will, and maybe I had made no decisions in my life. Like maybe all of this was, you know, preordained, predetermined, right? And he talks about the idea, the concept of the soul, and yeah, if you can't, like, how do you know you have a soul? Right? And if you don't know, then are you really here or anywhere? And he just keeps going down this kind of this path until he recognizes that the girl's there, and he observes her eyes. Again, chapter 1 is called Eyes in Eyes, as we just found out. So again, I'm very focused in like there's keywords that especially with like a Chiyomaru work, I've noticed Steins Gate, there's always words that you're looking at. Eyes is a keyword. And a lot of visual novels are like this. Eyes are a keyword. Delusion is a keyword. And then he talks again about that. Would my world be reduced to the reflection in her eyes, or would her world be reduced to the reflection in my eyes? Again, talking about reflection, eyes. Eyes are a gateway to the soul, and he was talking about the soul. Like, it all connects together, right? And then obviously, you know, the ending of that, and then I don't feel that. And then at the end, he's looking at the sky, the rain's continuing, but he doesn't feel the gaze or anything anymore. And then he asks about where that sky went. So sky is a keyword too, and visually they do the shot, and they repeat those shots from the prologue in the OP. I couldn't see it, even though it was watching me. It was strange. For as long as I could remember, I sometimes felt like I was being watched by some mysterious gaze. But whenever I turned to look, there was never anyone there. Still, I was convinced that someone was watching me. I could tell by the chills that ran down my neck. Was I just being too self-conscious? So yeah, he's talking about that phenomenon where you get like that feeling, like that prickly feeling on the back of your neck that like someone's watching you. You know, it's one of those phenomena, right? Like, and I think that's really interesting, like that like kind of those weird phenomena, because deja vu is another one of those weird phenomena, and obviously Steins Gate goes into the idea of deja vu, and Chaos Head seems to be going into that idea of eyes, you know, someone watching you. And like that feeling that you get. It's another one of those things that's like universal. It's something that everyone's experienced at one point or another in their life. Or did I just have a fear of being watched? Interesting. Way back in elementary school, I'd thought of it differently. That gaze is God watching over me. And there's the God, which of course, God is a keyword in Steins Gate as well. And I genuinely believed it, too. I'd even written an essay about it back then. In retrospect, I must have just had a bad case of chunibyo. But now it hurt just thinking about it. So I generally know what chunibyo means, but they do bring up, I believe it's the tip list. Yeah, okay. I mean, we might as well read this. Why not? So it's number 18. Oh, wow. So there's all these terms, and they're in alphabetical order, and number 18 is chunibyo. Very cool. Okay, we can't go to diagnosis yet, but literally 8th grade syndrome, a term referring to a mindset exhibited primarily by adolescent males, also used as a derogatory term to refer to older people who still inhabit this mindset. Characterized by an affected attitude of nihilism or cynicism, antisocial behavior, fantastical delusions, and or a consuming fear of being treated as a child. The person exhibiting these symptoms believes that they are cool, but most adults will find it comical. Chunibyo, which is often abbreviated as chuni, also refers to the fictional tropes that teenage males tend to enjoy, such as ancient conspiracies, superpowers, especially powers sealed in a character's eye or arm. Very nice. Norse mythology, battles for the fate of the multiverse, etc. All of which are very cool. I am not a teenage male, and I haven't been for a while, but I still find all of those things very cool. The consummate Chunibyo case will work such elements into their own personal backstory. So, despite being again, a woman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, oh my god, I'm derping on her name. Like, Megumin has been, I believe people have described Megumin as having some of these traits, and that definitely fits from my understanding of Chuni. But yeah, typically it's referred to male characters, or I guess people. I think of Chunibyo in the fictional concept as far as like fictional characters, and obviously this protagonist is referring to some of his more like Chuni kind of characteristics. I would argue Okabe is a classic Chunibyo as well, so that's really interesting. If this is potentially, now he's just saying that, like, you know, he had a bad case of Chunibyo back then, but did I miss a line? I feel like I missed a line. Jesus Christ. I'm like, I don't know why I'm like diving into this too hard. Yeah. I've even written an essay about it back then. In retrospect, I must just had a bad case of Chunibyo, but now it hurt just thinking about it. If anyone were to read it now, I'd probably shut myself away from society for the rest of my life. I feel like there's a lot of things that people are like that. I feel like a lot of people are like that about, like, you know, like the teenage girl that writes fan fiction and then is embarrassed about it later or whatever, right? Like, there's a lot of, like, stereotypes like that. Fuhihi. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's supposed to be, like, a really weird laugh. Or, like, what? Or if that's a name? I can still remember the title of that essay. Yeah? Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes by Nishijo Takumi, Class 4-3. Okay, we have a name. Oh, we have a room. Oh, there's multiple things happening right now. I want to, I am writing that down. Alright, we have our first name of Chaos Head, Nishijo Takumi. Alright, Takumi's interesting. My chair groaned hoarsely as I leaned back.
僕を見るな。
Okay. So it looks like all dialogue will be voiced, so it's just inner thoughts that I'm gonna have to read out. I muttered, so kind of in the same, so it's like the same as like Fate. I muttered that toward the gloomy ceiling, irritated. Naturally, there was no response. Is there? Whoa, no, no! Oh, Jesus. Holy fuck. I did not want that to happen. Okay, I actually need to... see, it's unfortunate because config... Or, no, like, the help is going to give me the controls. Yeah, I want to... Well, I guess now I know. Yeah, okay, so it looks like hide text is going to be circle, it looks like. Because it said /hide text are the same. So I think I got my thing, but oh god, I apologize for that. Okay, it wasn't too much. I muttered that toward the gloomy ceiling, irritated. Don't look at me, of course. Naturally, there was no response. This is my room. I lived here alone. Aside from me, of course, there wasn't a single person here. I tried turning around. Yeah, okay. So I just have to press circle if I want to get the full view of the screen. My room was dim and cluttered, with various belongings stacked all the way to the ceiling. Why does your room look like it exists in a... It looks like you live in a fucking, like, I don't even know what those are called, like a shipping crate. The hell? Then you got... So yeah, he's got two computers, or he's got kind of like an older screen and then like a newer screen, and it looks like, yeah, he games on that screen, and he like browses or whatever on that screen. Obviously he's got a interesting looking pink-haired anime waifu Looks like he's been drinking Coke. He's got Pocky. He's got chips. He's got whatever the hell that drink is. And you can see at the top of the screen, he's got what's probably some manga or Blu-rays. Obviously, he's a huge fan of this one pink-haired girl, but you can see he's got some other figures at the top right of the screen of some other babes. Hey, I can relate, bro. I got a lot of figures. The only source of light in the room was the desk lamp near my PC, and yeah, that's also upper right, just below the anime figures. There weren't any windows, so the darkness should come as no surprise. And since you couldn't see outside, you couldn't even tell whether it was night or day. And there's a million more figures. Interesting. Yeah, we get, again, another good look at Blood Tune. Potentially. Blood Time? Whatever that is. Never let your guard down, you hear? The game is literally telling us, never let our guard down. So yeah, you get a better look at those 4 anime characters, and then you got a bunch of other anime characters. On those walls, a bunch of figures, and some other shit on the top of that top shelf. I started speaking into the dark corners of my room.
僕の名前は西條匠、17歳、水明学園2年。と言っても学校にはほとんど行ってないけど。
Okay, he goes to Suime Academy. All right. The notes are being taken, as we say. All right. That all sounds about normal for anime or other otaku storyline.
まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。
Okay, so you are potentially fairly smart.
定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。しかもそれなりに上位の点数を取ってるからね。
Okay, so he's very smart then, in all likelihood.
頭はいいんだ。
Okay. That lines up too. I mean, the previous, like I said, my protagonist experience with Chiyomaru, it's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of, so far, like a lot of similarities potentially between the Chaos Head protagonist and Okabe from Steins Gate. Now, I'm not expecting Takumi to be even half of Okabe, because Okabe is one of, if not my favorite character of all time. But again, you never know. I'm open to any possibilities. It wasn't like talking to myself would accomplish anything. It wasn't like anyone was going to show up out of nowhere. Oh, I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. The darkness just kept on sitting there and being darkness. Oh my god, if she's the pink-haired girl, I just thought, what if all the characters in this are going to be different, or some of these figures are going to, like, turn into characters? Oh, that would be insane. Darkness just kept on sitting there and being darkness. Still, darkness was delusion fuel. Oh, no. After all, the unseen might as well be the unknown. In the darkness, even if you knew it was impossible, you couldn't help but wonder if something might be there, lurking in the shadows. Damn it, this wasn't helping. I was only making my own creepy delusions worse. Why did I do this to myself? Get off the topic. I decided to keep monologuing.
僕は現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。
Shibuya. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど。
The Kurenai Conference Hall, and it's owned by Takumi's dad's property management company. Interesting. Wonder why you're living here as opposed to with your dad.
その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
Okay, that's what I was saying. It looked like a shipping container. That's crazy. Bro's got like a washer and dryer outside too. That's wild.
街の環境は最悪。僕が住んでる新船町は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし、すぐ近くにラブホ街もあるし。
Okay, fair enough. That's a slave card.
ここが秋葉なら最高だったのに。
Ah, that explains the shot that I thought was Akiba, because this guy wishes he lived in Akiba. Okay. So we did have a shot of Akiba, and in fact, that is presumably the building. So that was a shot of Akiba at the beginning, because it was inside. You are near whatever that says, but the inside thing, that's the thing that got like all fucked up. Although that says Shibuya Ekamai, bottom left, so I don't actually know, but I'm assuming this is supposed to be Akihabara, then, that we're looking at right now. Interesting. It's Tokyo either way,
ほんと
if you're
渋谷
not
ってひど
aware.
い街だ。円数で言うとディーンズバレーくらいひどい。
Dean's Valley and ESO? I don't even want to know. The kingdom of ESO, huh? But yeah, like, Tokyo is ginormous. It makes sense that a lot of people in that they talk about like all the different, you know, areas and stuff are basically their own cities. ESO was the name of an MMORPG that was basically my life. Neidhart, paladin, human male, level 50, experience, ungodly amount of experience, money, 10 million, 62,978 of whatever the currency is. So, I mean, obviously I know what an MMORPG is, but okay, it's really, okay, good, okay. So that's interesting. With Shunibyo, they go in depth explaining, like, there's quite a bit here about Shunibyo, but with MMORPG, they keep it nice and simple. Cool. I want to read all of these, so I'm glad that the ones that are, like, really self-explanatory, they're not going to go in depth on. Short for massively multiplayer online role-playing game. A role-playing game in which an unspecified number of players connect to a game world established on an online server and play simultaneously. Its full title was Empire Sweeper Online. Interesting name. I dive into Baselard. That's the world of ESO pretty much every day at this point, sacrificing sleep in the process, of course. Dean's Valley was a region in ESO that was full of annoying mobs. They hit super hard, and yet they couldn't even be bothered to drop any decent loot. Only idiots went there to grind. That makes sense. Every vet worth his shit would go to the forest of Lied? I don't even know. Lead? No idea. Instead, it was a much better place to grind, and it was right nearby. Of course, that was where I went.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。
Wow. I do actually have to check I have no idea what DQNs are, but damn, everyone just trying a bunch of egotistical douchebags looking for an easy lay is wild. All right. Dokyun used to refer to people who were stupid, antisocial, or delinquents. Fair enough.
でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。
Yeah, I suppose.
PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。
I mean, to be fair, like, I'm someone that really enjoys, like, being inside and, like I said, making videos on anime and cartoons and visual novels and shit, so, like, I actually do gain immense satisfaction in my life from simple things, like just eating good food and doing the YouTube stuff, and, like, I kind of like being alone, and I know a lot of people that, like, fucks with them and they really need, like, more human interaction, but I really enjoy my alone time, and I like to spend primarily the primary amount of my time alone. Not to say that I'm completely against the idea of, you know, like, dating or whatever, but for the most part, I typically am not super interested.
まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
Of course you call this room your base. That's crazy. As always, there wasn't a single living creature in here except me. Well, that's good. That means there's no bugs. Realizing how ridiculous I sounded talking to myself like this, I decided to stop introducing myself to whoever was watching me. Well, oh man, I didn't even put this together, the meta that he always feels like someone's watching him. But, like, there's the meta commentary of that because we are watching Takumi. and it goes double because we're quite literally watching him through his eyes, but like we are watching him. Oh, that's actually really clever. I like that. You could
そ
clean
れ
this
にし
place
ても
up a little.
汚い部屋だな。
Yeah, honestly. The whole room reeked of rot. I could feel the stagnating air crawling on my skin. Yeah, you could definitely... One, you could open your fucking room up, but you also could just, you know, clean up, bro. Especially if you're in, like, a long, narrow space like this. Yeah, you want to keep that shit nice. Empty soda bottles and boxed lunches from the convenience store were scattered all over the floor. Don't get me wrong, like, the Coke, ballin'. I'm sure the box lunches aren't bad because, you know, konbini food is actually quite good in Japan, as is most food in Japan. Japan is just generally, like, you know, in some cases I almost feel like you have to try to get bad food in Japan. Also, my bed was covered in piles and piles of eroge. Thanks to that, I always slept on the couch instead. Okay, I don't need... This is another one that I know what this means, but yeah. This is, these are like adult video games from my understanding, but I wouldn't mind a more detailed explanation, to be honest. 18 plus video games that have been popular ever since the late 80s, featured mainly on PC. While they may be referred to as video games, the gameplay primarily consists of reading text. Yeah, they're typically visual novels. This text is often accompanied by character sprites, backgrounds, as well as special illustrations known as CGs, or computer graphics. The genre involves the player growing closer to the main heroines and experiencing sexual events with them over the course of the story. These events occasionally include subjects such as coercion or even rape. Despite the adult content of the source material, several anime have been made based on these games, many of which have established a cult following. Interesting. So, there's a few really interesting things notable here. They're kind of referencing that, like, sometimes eroge cover dark subject matter. They're referencing the fact, like, I feel like what's interesting about all of these is there is this, like, weird, like, meta going on here in the terms used to refer to people who are stupid, antisocial, or delinquent. Arguably, our main character is antisocial, and by arguably I mean he is. He's playing MMOs. He's arguably a chunibyo, and the concept of an eroge, like, this game has a very eroge-esque setup. Potentially. I don't know, actually. But, like, based on that intro, it seemed like all the other characters are going to be girls. So, you know, interesting.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。って僕か。
Ah! Fuhihi is him. Oh, Jesus. I wonder if he has a little bit of a, like, a kink for, like... I don't know if it'd be humiliation necessarily, but kind of like... Oh, look at how pathetic I am. Like, the way he laughs and smirks at that is crazy. Fed up with my own creepy laugh, I took out my frustration on a plastic bottle lying by my foot. Bro's about to kick one of his Coke bottles. Rude. What the fuck are you doing? The bottle ricocheted off the wall and flew straight toward my shelf of perfectly organized figures. With a shriek, I leapt out of my chair to catch it. We get a good look at the figures here. You have all different types of figures, nothing in particular. I'm sure a lot of these are references to actual, like, anime and shit. But yeah, I mean... In fact, actually, what the fuck? Upper left, second... by upper left, I mean, like, on the shelves, like the 3 shelves. Oh my god! Yeah! You know what? These are actual... Because I was literally gonna say upper left, second furthest to the left is Ryder from Fate Stay Night, but now I look bottom left, and that's Saber from Fate Stay Night. These are actual, just real characters. What the hell? That's crazy. What? Bro. Wait, what? I'm kind of surprised. Like, I don't even know what to say. That's actually... Dude, I need to actually... I'm going to delete it later, but Nah, I need to save. I need to get a save just so I can, I need to get a save just so I can, like, screenshot this later. That's crazy. Actually, no, I'll probably just do it from the recording. That's actually stupid. But either way, that's actually nuts. Like, what the fuck? The fact that there's actually Ryder and Saber. I feel like a lot of these characters look familiar, but I'm not like clicking on who they are. Right? Like a lot of they're definitely familiar looking characters, but that's insane. What the fuck? With a shriek, I leapt out of my chair to catch it. I never let anyone lay a finger on any of my own 100-ish waifus, daughters, and older sisters. These girls were my darlings. Just looking at them soothed my aching heart. Okay, fair enough. It's good to know that they're not all waifus. That's actually surprisingly, like, I don't know how to put it. Like, the opposite of comforting. I would say the opposite of unsettling. It's good to know that some of them are your waifus, some of them are your daughters, and some of them are your older sisters. That last one's kind of interesting, but I made sure to tidy up their shelf once a week. It was the only place in the room I ever cleaned. Damn. I was always looking for the best ways to display their cuteness. I would constantly rotate and reposition them, trying to create the ultimate layout. Naturally, if I let them get dusty, then the whole thing would be ruined, so I always made sure to clean them regularly. I could relate. I'm in a room with, 20-odd figures, and they're not all girls either, though. I'm not that hardcore of a weep. To be fair, they are mostly girls, because generally speaking, I generally would rather look at figures of chicks, but I do have Bondrewd, Lelouch, Todoroki. I thought I had one more guy, but I'm not seeing any others. Oh, I have Nagito as well. You guys probably, honestly, if you're watching Chaos Head, you probably know who those characters are from each series. Because if you're doing a Chaos Head Let's Play, you're probably pretty deep in the weebdom. I'm not gonna lie. Breathing a sigh of relief, I tossed the bottle aside and turned back to my PC. I kept my beloved PC enshrined at the back end of my room. Makes sense. Next to my monitor was Seraton, 1/8 scale pre-awakening version, a figure from my current favorite anime, Bloodtoon the Animation. I wonder if Bloodtoon is like a eroge turned anime based on that previous thing. Sarah Orgel. Fictional. Okay, so they do immediately, I think they're trying to say that this is like a non-real character. So this is going to totally be, that pink-haired girl is going to be like Sarah turned to life. I guarantee it. Alright. The lead heroine of the anime Bloodtoon the Animation. Her signature catchphrase is, "You big dum-dum." Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sarah is what one might call a tsundere childhood friend type character. 17, second-year student at Meteor Academy, so that all lines up with Takumi. She can transform into a magical girl using the power of Star, and of course it's the literal star. And she is accompanied by her mysterious familiar called Something. Interesting. As is typical of a magical girl, she wields a magical staff she calls Samurai Star Condenser. Despite it being referred to as a staff, its appearance is far too brutal for it to truly be considered such. In reality, is very, very clearly a giant metal rod. Sarah will also use her staff for physical attacks on occasion, or to put it bluntly, she beats her enemies to a bloody pulp with it. This definitely sounds like a fairly dark magical girl anime. Especially with the name Bloodtoon as well. Bloodtoon was originally a manga, but it recently received an anime adaptation. The anime is currently airing with a total of 26 episodes. So 2-core, and currently airing is interesting. So I'm wondering if, like, the plot of this anime is going to be relevant to Chaos Head. She sat there, striking a moe pose and smiling at me. So again, I more or less know what moe means, but Yeah. In otaku culture, it refers to feelings of affection, adoration, or excitement towards characters, typically female in manga, anime, video games, and other media. Also used to describe particular character traits, including flaws like glasses, clumsiness, or ditziness. Term is often used interchangeably with the word cute. Yes, it is. Or even as a verb. I moed over her for like an hour. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard it used as a verb, but I do, yeah. Yeah, it's interchangeably used with cute. That tracks. Also used to refer to the culture of entertainment centered around things that are moe. That I feel like is the more common use these days. Such media has become so popular that the term has entered the lexicon of otaku not only in Japan but across the world, yes.
セーラー、かわいいよ、セーラー。
Okay, that's creepy. That is weird. And like the voice actor, the Seiyu, did a great job of making it sound weird too. Staring longingly into Saratan's eyes, I grabbed a nearby bottle of cola and took a sip. It was lukewarm, but I didn't care. Ew. I'm like the biggest Coke guy, but I don't want lukewarm cola.
さてと、演すらないと。
Alright, he's gonna play some more ESO. I sat back down and plopped my hands onto the keyboard, just assuming that position made me feel relaxed. My character in ESO, Neidhart, was a paladin. I'd already leveled him up to the max and reset twice. That's crazy. Bro's a grinder, that's for sure. Yeah, Holy Knight. One of the classes a player can choose in Empire Sweeper Online is characterized by its high defense, ability to use recovery magic despite being a warrior class, and its high resistance to the darkness attribute. However, players cannot change to this class unless they fulfill very specific requirements. It is said to currently be the strongest class in ESO. Right now, he was back to the max level 50. That was the highest rank you could reach on official servers. ESO players far and wide knew me as lightning fast Neidhart. They treated me like a god. Oh, God. God, delusion, the keywords are coming up again. I already had all the rare weapons, armor, and magic. I still only had 95% of the total rare items, but whatever. It was still a work in progress. I had so much gold I didn't even know what to do with it. Well, aside from RMT, real money trading, which I made a living off of. Jesus Christ, bro's got so much in-game currency that he's turning it into his fucking actual cash. Even if I had stopped grinding right now, I'd still have enough to keep living like this for half a year. That's crazy. I mean, obviously, real money trading is pretty self-explanatory, and yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing, for sure. The act of exchanging fictional items that appear in MMORPGs and other online games for real currency. This is only possible in games that contain a system that allows for the exchange of items. There are many common issues present in the RMT community, especially fraud, so the practice has its pros and cons, for sure. Aside from just ESO stuff, I was particularly adept at chatting online. It was the only source of social interaction I ever got after all. Jesus Christ. The thing is like I go out and like at least go out and like, you know, have some meals, at least fucking have someone, a waiter, you know, tell you what you want. Like literal no social interaction is crazy, and this is coming from someone that literally likes to stay inside all the time. But I do like to go out and, like I said, you know, get some meals sometimes, but also like, you know, I'll go to the movies, or I'll you know, go to like a sports event or wrestling show or something. But that's the thing, right? It's like I'm like antisocial by choice, but I'm actually like I don't actually have issues with like talking to people or anything at all. Like I can interact with people no problem. I gave advice on the huge anonymous forum @channel. I posted in epic threads too, of course. Again, getting Steins Gate vibes here. Oh yeah, I had over 100 friends on Free Para, a social network I use. So SNS, social networks or social networking services, are community-oriented websites that come in a variety of formats, such as registration-based, invite-only, and more. Websites such as these are designed to facilitate easy communication between users. Obviously, you guys all know social media, basically. So like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Reddit, so on and so forth. You get the idea. respect, trust. I had it all right here. So what's going to drive you out of this damn crate? I didn't go to school. It wasn't so much that I didn't want to, and more that I had no reason to. Yeah, I guess he aces all his tests, and he's even making money because of his fucking ESO. That actually makes more sense, though. I mean, obviously he loves the game, but the fact that he plays it so hardcore that he's able to make a living off of it, that actually kind of makes it a little more respectful, putting like a crazy amount of hours into it. It has quite literally become his job on top of the passion. I could study anything online. School's completely useless when you can get everything done from home. I mean, it's the social interaction part that you're missing, but from an educational standpoint, I mean, if you're able to, you know, comprehend and understand and learn, then I get where he's coming from, at least. Well, I did need to attend every once in a while, or else I wouldn't earn enough credits to graduate. That was why I went to school as little as I possibly could. That was the smartest way for a student to live. Fair enough, I guess. My parents always nagged me about it, though. To make things easier, I invented the minimum attendance chart. That is crazy. That is nuts. Okay, so Jesus Christ, too. He's taking... So he's taking math, English, history, advanced chem, classic lit. He's taking two Englishes. He's taking advanced chem, advanced bio, advanced physics. So he's like all advanced sciences. He's taking 2 English classes and classic lit. He's taking health as well. 2 different math. There's a difference between math 2 and math B. They're not the same thing. Holy shit. And he's like barely... Oh, he's taking Japanese as well. There's also an English C, it looks like. So he's taking 3 English classes, classic lit and Japanese. And he's like showing up a few times a week. That is crazy. According to the chart, I only need to attend 2 to 3 times a week. Although there's one week where you're actually attending just once. The other students would always make fun of me for being an otaku freak, but as far as I were concerned, they were the stupid ones for going to school every day. Maybe try thinking for yourself for once, dipshits. Damn, that's kind of hardcore. Yeah, we know what otaku means, but hey, we might as well go through it anyways. The Japanese word for fanatic, nerd, enthusiast, or hobbyist. An all-encompassing term for people with an obsessive interest in a particular topic, most often refers to fans of anime, manga, and video games, but there are also train otaku, military otaku, electronics otaku, etc. While the word may have held negative connotations in the past, it has become far less negative over time, with many otaku reclaiming the term as a badge of honor. I would say by 2022, it is not a derogatory term really at all. But yes, it's basically just you're like a nerd for something, and it could be for anything. But yeah, like traditionally, if you're just saying otaku and you're not adding on to it, we're usually talking like anime, manga, video games, like Japanese otaku culture is. I often refer to the collective of like multimedia experience of anime, manga, light novels, visual novels, video games coming from Japan or in a Japanese style as Japanese otaku culture. That's basically kind of an all-encompassing term that I'll use for that. But yes, you could be an otaku about anything, but if we're just using the word otaku, it's almost always referring to the Japanese otaku culture, which, like I said, is anime, manga, light novels, visual novels, JRPGs, all that stuff. All in all, my life here really isn't all that bad. No, I mean, it sounds decent to me, except you could clean up your place. Oh, whoops, I've been so busy thinking about the gays, I forgot I was in the middle of chatting with Grim. Interesting. So this is the friend of yours from, ESO? So Grim said, "You okay? You're not replying. You, AAK? I assume that means he meant to say AFK or something? Yo, Nightheart? Grim was the handle of one of my ESO friends. Yeah, I know what a handle is. That's like a username, basically. Oh, handle is an alias used by someone on online service. Yep. Oh, AAK is asleep at keyboard. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Used when someone has fallen asleep or become unresponsive while logged into a game or chat room. A related term is AFK, meaning away from keyboard. Okay, so AAK, that was not a typo. I have actually never heard of AAK. I am familiar with AFK, though. I talk to him all the time online, though I never met him IRL. Sure. I'm surprised they didn't say IRL means in real life. He had a keen eye for useful information, so I could generally rely on him to keep me in the loop. I wonder if we'll meet Grim at some point. I sat back down and started tapping out a response. My bad. And nah, I didn't fall asleep. I just zoned out for a second. Lol. Guess you must be really tired. Did you not get enough sleep, or do you just stay up late doing the dirty with your GF? Lol. Up all night every night. Wow. That's crazy. Come on, you know I'm not into 3D raffle. Jesus Christ. Holy shit, Takumi, that's crazy. The two of us chatted about all sorts of things, and since it was all anonymous, I was comfortable with talking about pretty much anything. Fair enough. This Grim character is probably going to come up at some point, though. That ESO logo is kind of interesting, but I'm curious about Butterfly and Coco Chat. I want to know what those are. Also, do not open. I'd never act like this IRL, obviously. Oh, right. You like 2D, and by 2D you mean eroge? What is up with you and lewd shit, lol? Me? You're the guy that has porny delusions all the time. You literally were just going on and on about girls in school swimsuits, remember? Lol. I didn't actually even catch what... Oh, yeah, lol. Wow. Jesus Christ, why did they write so much? Yeah, lol. Yeah, and then talking about Lamau and Raffle. Okay, yeah, I'm not reading that. Everyone knows what LOL means. A swimsuit designated for school purposes, worn primarily in physical education classes throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school. In this circumstances, however, it is referring specifically to those worn by women. School swimsuits may be further classified according to color and type. Even now, a fierce debate rages on between enthusiasts about whether or not competition swimsuit should be considered school swim. Interesting. I was? He doesn't even remember. Interesting. I definitely don't remember that. Anyway. If that's what we're talking about, then here's my take on it. Oh, no. What the fuck am I looking at? You're so cute, Sarah. Sarah, you're so cute. You're so cute, Sarah. I'll put you to rest now? What? School swimsuit, school swimsuit, school swimsuit. I'll put you to rest now. And then it just repeats all this stuff. School swimsuit plus glasses equal perfection. Oh, God. Why is this a choice? So, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh. So, I'm not gonna lie. I don't get the school swimsuit thing. Like, I know it's like a big fetish in, like, again, Japanese otaku culture, but I've never really understood it. But, see, but he's saying school swimsuit plus glasses equal perfection. So do I deny that or do I go with it? I'm gonna say no. Wait, what? But the glasses are the best part. Competition swimsuits are definitely better than the regular. Nah, 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 nah. We are not. Nope, nope, nope. See, we were focusing in on the glasses element. Nah, the glasses are always peak. The swimsuit glasses combo should be the default. It's not a real school swimsuit unless there's a name tag on the oh my god, these are like just totally different arcs. Huh. I don't even know what I want to do with this. Okay. No. Why would we need a name tag on the chest? That's just weird. The name tag is unnecessary, though. No respectable individual gives two shits. In the end, what really matters is the camel toe. That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, if we're being honest, Neidhart's into the camel toe. You need to be able to see the camel toe, bro. That's the best part. Slow down, man. Lamau, you like girls with glasses? That's your type? Nah, they just pair well with swimsuits. What the hell does that even mean? Usually you take your glasses off for swimming, right? So it's like the taboo of keeping the glasses on. But she doesn't. And that leaves all sorts of room for my delusions to work. Well, your libido is definitely at full throttle today. But that's what makes you you, Neidhart, lol. I should be disgusted and yet, lol. Oh my god, what the hell? Okay, default. Computing and software terminology means initial state, also used in general conversation to mean the norm of the way it is. Type. Tendency one has towards a certain interest, mainly used to refer to the fetishistic characteristics that one finds attractive in a sexual partner. That's like I feel like a strong way to put it, but sure. For example, if a person is attracted specifically to women who wear glasses, or if they're attracted specifically to clumsy or otherwise ditzy girls, that is their type. Glasses always. Like, it's hard to go wrong with glasses on a hot girl. At the same time, however, those who possess such fetishistic characteristics can also be referred to using type. An example of this would be an older woman with a calm personality being referred to as a calm older sister type, or a woman who looks young in comparison to her age being referred to as a lolly type. Interesting. Libido! And we're I love how we start with according to Sigmund Freud. That anytime you start with according to Sigmund Freud, that is terrifying. Libido is the energy that causes sexual impulses. Carl Jung, meanwhile, defines it as the body of energy that drives all instincts. So we're basically saying, like, Sigmund Freud looks at it, you know, at the sexual component, and Carl Jung is talking more of instinctual nature of humans, or just creatures. Interesting. That was actually the most interesting one we've read so far, because we brought up two... God, dude, anytime Freud gets brought up, I have, like, a heart attack. But everything about that is actually really interesting. Wait, go back. What do you mean that's what makes you you? I mean, yeah, I guess I went a bit crazy there. But I'm still trying to maintain a cool image for myself here. You? Cool? Damn, Grin cooking. What are you laughing at? Anyway, what were we talking about before I went AFK? It's probably just something to do with ESO. You seriously forget? There was an incident IRL recently. An incident IRL? I remembered something like that, but what was it? Shogun has joined the room. Greetings, Lord Shogun. Sup? Interesting names. These are cool names. Like Grim, Neidhart, Shogun. Pretty cool names. I introduced myself, but there was no reply from the user named Shogun. It's also creepy how, like, when we're doing this, like, screen thing, they frame it in a way so we specifically have, I should have wrote her name down. It's, like, it starts with an S, but what's her name? Yeah, Sarah Orgel is just sitting there. What was up with that? Was he ignoring me? I was being so friendly to him, too. Did he know who he was talking to? I'll have you know, I'm the lightning fast Neidhart. Lurking wasn't even allowed here. Obviously, I know what lurking is. Yeah, net slang, an online user who browses a website without ever posting on it. I mean, it is net slang, but I feel like at this point, anyone who spends a lot of time online pretty much knows what that means. So it's pretty, I think it's like, back in the day, it was a little more niche, but nowadays, I think it's pretty well known. Well, whatever, might as well just ignore him. I guess that was another great thing about the internet. There was no need to worry about pointless etiquette. Anyway, what were you saying, Grim? I was talking about those cases that have been all over the news lately. If this is secretly turns into, like, delusional Ace Attorney, I will not. Like, I know what's happening IRL. Probably something stupid, right? Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty shocking, though. Shocking. Must have been some real grisly murder, then. There'd been a few here and there recently. You're not gonna send me gore again, are you? What? Can't handle a little gore, Neidhart? Lol. Oh, okay. I love how the game is literally... We didn't get to read that warning at the beginning. It flew by really fast, so I am expecting this to potentially get pretty hardcore. I know this game was announced for Steam and then banned from Steam and then reintroduced, so I'm prepared. I mean, there's nothing I can't handle. Still, I really didn't want to see it. Lately, though, it hadn't been easy to avoid that kind of stuff. People were always trying to trick others into clicking on nasty stuff like gore or some type of creepy edit, and once you fell for it, you couldn't unsee it.
まあ少しは目が慣れてきちゃってるのかも。
I don't know. I don't know what we're about to see. Oh, and they call you the greatest paladin in all of Baselard, lol. I don't PK, though. PK stands for player kill, yep. I love how, like, instead of being like, oh, you could read this in the pause menu, no, we're literally just going to explain this in the main game. In other words, it's when you go around in MMOs killing randos and stealing their gold and gear, so typical DQN stuff. I guess it's worth reading all these, because they're only going to ever do it once, and if there's a word like that I don't recognize, I could always go back to it, right? I'm no troll, and I don't stoop to their level either. Well, I like that he has, like, what's it called? Like, beliefs. Like, he has his, morals of sorts. Net slang, to post controversial opinions or false information for the purpose of provoking a reaction. A person who does that is called a troll. And just in general, I try to avoid breaking ESO's rules. It goes against my policy. Oh. Oh, it goes against my policy. Well, except for the rules that prohibited RMT. I broke those all the time. That fucking laugh is crazy. Wow, calm your tits there, oh mighty hero, Lamau. So I'm sure you've heard of New Gen, right? I have not heard of New Gen, but let's talk... the fact that calm your tits is crazy. A crude way of telling someone to calm down. That's crazy that calm your tits is on the tips list. I have no idea what New Gen is. New Gen? What was that? Had he ever mentioned it before? Grim was talking like I should have already known about it. The hell is New Gen? The New Generation Madness. People call it New Gen online. It's the name for the mysterious set of incidents happening in Shibuya. It's all up in your neighborhood, lol. I wonder if you've actually... So you've actually mentioned you're from Shibuya, then? Because this could be really creepy if Grim just randomly was like, oh, I know you're from Shibuya. Interesting. Oh, now that he'd mentioned it, I did feel like I'd heard about it somewhere. So the New Generation Madness. I wonder if this is going to have a lot to do with the plot of this game. The mysterious set of incidents happening in Shibuya. Though all I knew was that they existed. I hadn't looked into them at all. I tried Googling New Gen. Also, delude. It's literally like delusion Google. I tried Googling New Gen and instantly got a few results. Madness explodes... Madness explodes in today's youth, the new, generation, whatever. Late at night, September 7th, deaths off of Cornelius Tower, group suicide, okay. Pieces of flesh under their finger, marks on their hand. Based on what I could read, that's interesting.
この1ヶ月の間に
Okay, they're
渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。
Okay, past a month.
その犠牲者は胎児を含めて7人。
Oh, Jesus. So it was like a pregnant woman involved, presumably?
1つ目
Holy
の事件は
fuck.
友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
That's wild.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
What? Oh, God.
これマジかよ。
That's... What, did they make him eat it? How else would you... Unless you, like, cut him open. What the... Man's abdomen. I'm assuming that's the... No blood relation found. 8 months... Oh my God. That is really fucked up. A chill ran down my spine. Okay, we're not playing around in this. That all immediately makes me think this is going to be darker than Steins Gate. And I guess the thing is with Steins Gate is like, yeah, like it's thematically dark as fuck. I feel like more than like content-wise, it's fairly dark, but it's nothing crazy. But like it's all like up in your head, like mentally, like psychologically, it's really dark. Whereas I feel like this is going to be psychologically really dark and also just like in the literal sense really dark too. I mean, just based on this screen that we're looking at here, it feels the case. That's crazy. Before I'd even realized it, I'd turned around and was looking around my room again. There were a bunch of results for New Gen on Taboo News, so I went to skim through them. Is Taboo, Nippon Taboo supposed to be like Yahoo Japan? New Generation Madness, the incidents that had the entire internet in an uproar. There have been 2 of them so far. I mean, 5 people doing a group suicide jumping off of a building is pretty metal. And then that second incident is somehow even, like, infinitely worse. One of them was so brutal, several TV channels didn't even describe the crime out loud. The first incident, the group dive, had been initially thought to be a suicide, but rumors had since risen that it may not have been. Parents and friends of the 5 victims all said the same thing. None of the victims had shown any signs of planning to commit suicide, and they hadn't had any reason to do so either. So they were, like enjoying life. They weren't showing any signs of depression or, any of the potential telltale signs of suicide. And on top of that, some physical evidence had been found too. I'm not gonna lie, like, this game has really gripped me really fast. Had a quick look. Well, looks like something out of a creepypasta, right? You shit yourself yet? It is pretty wild. We know what a creepypasta is, but I would imagine some of you might not actually know. Internet stories written to frighten or unsettle the reader. A portmanteau of the words creepy and copypasta. Copypasta is, in and of itself, a portmanteau of copy and paste. And it refers to specific books of text that are copied and shared all across the internet, especially on message boards such as @channel. Creepypastas, however, stick specifically to horror. They often feature grisly murders, suicides, hauntings, and other various occult occurrences. Not really. I don't care, to be honest. Here, gurodaisuki.com, and it's an image of, oh god, the gore's coming. Take a look at this, lol. Yeah, someone named Grim would be sending this shit. Like, I'm pretty sure Guro means something, like, related to gore. I feel like I've heard that term before, but I don't actually know what that means. What is it? Picture of one of the victims' corpses. Yeah, that's kind of sick, bro. He did stuff like this from time to time. But if I wanted to keep up my reputation as the great Neidhart of Baselard, I couldn't let it faze me. Unlike in the real world, I was a god in the world of ESO. I was the strongest, wisest, and most noble knight in all the land. Mocking me would be a fool's errand. And so, gathering up whatever courage I had, I clicked the link. Okay, here we go. Like, how bad is this going to be? Like, is this going to be, like, censorable? Like, I'm scared. I'm not scared to see it. Wow! Bro's actually trolling! Oh, it was just some shitty doodle. That's crazy. Lamau, I got baited. That was actually kind of funny. Who did this? Oh, I drew it in like 2 minutes. I actually don't know what O/ means. An ideograph depicting a person waving. Oh, the O is the head and the slash is the arm. Okay, typically used. I've never seen that before. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually one that I appreciate the info on. Which is why I like that they make all of these, even if a few of them are kind of a bit much, maybe. Typically used as a greeting or farewell. It could also be used to show agreement, as if the user is raising their hand. Okay, so you do pronounce it as O. I drew it in like 2 minutes. Damn, the god of art finally shows himself to us mortals, Raffle. Anyway, not gonna lie, I'm dead tired, so I think I'm gonna go pass out. Interesting. Damn, the way they, like, baited the gore and then, like, didn't show it to us has me terrified for later. Yeah, not gonna lie. I think I literally said not gonna lie. Used to express that your statement is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Nice. Often utilized in order to soften a statement, or when admitting to something that may not be the most flattering. Good night. See you tomorrow in Baselard. So, yeah, Shogun's still here. Come to think of it, that Shogun guy had been here the whole time. I'd completely forgotten about him. Not that I cared, though. I don't really feel like sleeping yet, so I guess I'll farm an ESO for a bit. Wait, no, the new episode of Bloodtoon comes out today. I didn't have a TV in my room, so I just made do with my PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも行っておこうかな。
Fair enough. Yeah, back then it would probably still be easier to just watch it live. I don't know exactly what time period this is, though. I think it's late 2000s. I imagine it's when this game came out, and I think the original Chaos Head was like, let's say 08. I took a quick look at Sarah next to my monitor. I would get to see Saraton today. I couldn't wait. Dude, I'm scared. We're going to watch the episode of this anime, and he's going to be delusioning like crazy. With that on my mind, I made my way over to close the chat window. Oh, no.
あれ?
Oh, fuck. Shogun just sent the real one, didn't he? Shogun had sent a message.
なんだよこいつ急に。
Oh, no. So he wasn't just a lurker. Judging by the file extension, it looked like an image link. Yeah, because I noticed, just like the other one, it's a JPG. A sudden link posted by a suspicious stranger that hadn't sent a single message until now. I gulped instinctively. I couldn't explain why, but I had a bad feeling about it. A feeling unlike anything I had ever felt in all my time on the internet. I really didn't want to click it. I clicked my tongue and glanced at the clock. My rendezvous with Saraton was in 12 minutes. I should probably get this conversation over with quickly. Lol, what kind of bait and switch is this, Lamau? German. I'm not gonna even try. A type of media in which a person is baited into believing that what they see will be one thing, only for it to be swiftly switched out for something else, something that Steins Gate likes to do, and I fully expect Chaos Heads doing it, and I feel like they've already started to do it. The most popular form bait and switch takes is when an internet user believes they are clicking a link to something they're looking for, only for it to lead to something wholly undesirable. These can involve any number of things, from jump scares, shock sites, and most often associated with the term videos used to prank the user in a made-you-look style fashion. Think Rickroll, for example. When exposed to enough bait and switch type media, the user may come to suspect anything and everything they come across. In some cases, they may even be too suspicious to take any action at all and therefore leave the link entirely alone. Whoa, what's with the German, lol? I was trying my best to act calm and casual. To be honest, I really didn't want to chat with a shady guy like this. I was so uncomfortable that I could feel a cold sweat forming. He was saying something like, the world changes if you click it. Seriously, what was his deal? Yeah, I wouldn't have... there were a couple words in there that I think I understood, but I didn't understand enough to even give that a try. If the guy only spoke German, I definitely wouldn't be able to deal with him. Sorry for startling you. Huh, so he could actually speak normally. I relaxed a little bit. Don't worry, you're fine. Yeah, just don't worry. Any reason for lurking? Did someone give you the you need to lurk for 6 months before posting spiel? See, Shogun says I was thinking, but I feel like Shogun wanted to specifically show this to Neidhart and not Grimm. And I don't know why, but I feel like we're specifically the target of whatever Shogun's cooking. I was thinking. By the way, where are you chatting from? Some reason there was a short pause. Shibuya. Bro, is Shogun the new gen killer? Yo! Is that what this is gonna be? Is Neidhart going to, like, try and solve the new gen, like, murder cases? And Shogun is the new gen killer? And Shogun's typing to Neidhart? But because Neidhart's so delusional, is it at all possible that Shogun and Neidhart are the same person and Neidhart is the killer? Oh, God. Oh, God. The theories just flooded into me all of a sudden. I bet you Shogun's the new gen killer, and Neidhart's gonna... this is literally gonna be like a game where Neidhart's gonna have to try and figure out who the new gen killer is, while also having delusions of this girl coming to life, Sarah. Oh, I think we're cooking. I think that might be the plot of the game. I think I just cracked the whole code. Now I think Shogun's the killer. All at once, images of those gruesome new-gen incidents flashed through my head. Even though I hadn't actually seen any photos, I could picture them so vividly that it was almost like I'd been there myself. The man's torn-up stomach, the lifeless fetus shoved inside, that's insane. I feel like that's what we're about to get a picture of. Or I think the picture we got. The 5 people that dove off the building, instantly turning into a pulpy, inhuman puddle upon hitting the ground. We kind of got a visual of that. Just thinking about it was almost enough to make me puke. Yeah, it makes sense. I shook my head violently as if to shake the gruesome delusion out of my head. This Shogun guy was so suspicious, I couldn't stop the paranoid delusions from forming. Oh no. What was he trying to drag me into? I'm terrified by the fact that we only have 8 saves. That is horrifying to me. Same here. Looks like a lot of weird incidents have been happening lately, huh? More are coming. Oh my god. This potato's terrifying. Shibuya is so scary.
なんだこれ
Fun to the power of 10 times... What? Integer to the power of 40 equals LR2? Is that like a riddle? This Shogun guy some kind of Denpa nut job? A term used to refer to individuals who act or speak in a way that is commonly regarded as incoherent, nonsensical, or disconnected from the world around them. Term comes from the Japanese word denpa, yeah, the same literal word, which translates literally to electromagnetic waves. Something that comes up in Steins Gate, not denpa, but of electromagnetic waves. This is because the people in this category often believe that they are hearing voices, thoughts, or instructions in their head via electromagnetic radiation. Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not familiar with the term denpa. That's a new one to me. I believe, at least. I'd never seen that formula before in my life, and when you were as smart as me, that was saying something. Fair enough. I tried looking it up. In this day and age, there was all sorts of information on the internet, so it'd be easy to find.
あれヒットしないな
Was he trying to act smart by typing some nonsense formula? Fuck if I knew. That formula has killed this world's possibilities. What the fuck? Now this is weirdly like giving me a little bit of Steins Gate vibes, but I don't even know what to make of it. What are you trying to say? And what was that link from earlier? Should I just take the bait already, lol? I thought it might interest you. And he just keeps sending... Oh, those are different. Those are not the same image. The number's going up each time. How many fucking images? How many... How... What the hell? Bro. I'm not pressing anything, by the way. Oh my god, it finally stopped. That's a lot. All of a sudden, the chat was flooded with links. I'm scared. These are... There's no way there's been this many murders, though. Don't tell me these are murders that haven't happened yet. Just who was this guy? Was he just trying to scare me for shits and giggles? Maybe he was a friend of Grimm's and they'd teamed up to mess with me? Oh, did he have that feeling like someone was watching him all of a sudden? Feeling the gaze again. I took a look around the room, but surprise, surprise, all that was behind me was darkness and clutter, as per usual. I was hit with an unnatural sense of dread. The feeling of perpetually being watched left me feeling restless. Ooh.
僕を見るな。
Oh god, it's really fucking him up, too. And upon saying that, I realized that my voice was trembling. Yeah, it was really good. Really good seiyuu work. I've already been impressed with Takumi's seiyuu, and we've like barely started. It was almost like the cluttered room I knew so well had transformed into some place completely foreign. If you've ever had to go to the bathroom at night after watching a horror movie or listening to a ghost story or something, you may know the feeling of being unnerved or even terrified by the dark hallways of your own home. That was close to how I felt right now.
くそ、釣られたりするもんか。
I don't think it's bait. In spite of my shuddering, I faced the monitor, leaned in, and before I knew it, with the slightest twitch of my index finger, I'd clicked one of the links. Oh boy, here we go. Wow, and then he hesitated after he clicked it. Oh, Jesus! That was like spikes of some kind, like through a guy. I really had no clue how it happened. It wasn't like my hand had been possessed by some unnatural force or something. I just sorta done it without thinking. But even though I knew full well that it'd be a mistake, I'd clicked it as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
なんだよこれ。
We're gonna get a better look at it. The image that filled my monitor looked like some kind of modern art piece. That might be the intention of the new gen killer or whoever this was. An arrangement of spikes, like the quills of a hedgehog or pins in a pincushion, protruded from the wall in the shape of a cross. Okay, religious connotations. Below it, a puddle of dark red. And in front of it were small pieces of something scattered across the ground like garbage. Seriously, what even was this? The work of some pretentious avant-garde artist? I'm surprised they're not explaining what avant-garde means, but fair enough. Those sort of idiots were all over the place. They'd make gory stuff like this, then spout some bullshit like it depicts the latent chaos oft laid bare in this cruel world. No way in hell I'd ever consider that shit art. It depicts the latent chaos oft laid bare in this cruel world. That's an interesting quote for the story called Chaos Head. Still, what a weird image. It hadn't explicitly been gore, but it was definitely borderline. So then why had it seem so graphic? Why did it seem so realistic? Because it was. Why was I imagining the stench of blood? And why was that stench so strong that it nearly made me choke? It was all in my head, so why do I feel sick to my stomach? That's where we get into potentially the crackpot theory that you did it yourself, bro. Or more likely just his delusions taking over. I felt a sharp throbbing pain in my forehead. The nausea wouldn't go away. I desperately reached for my mouse, but my trembling hand knocked it off the desk, leaving it dangling above the floor by its cord. I reeled it back up to the mouse pad and then finally closed the image. But just as I thought, it was finally over. My eyes were struck by... Whose eyes are those eyes? What the fuck? Oh, it just... What the hell? I glanced at the minimum attendance chart. In the end, I hadn't managed to catch the new Bloodtoon episode live. No big deal, though. Someone had upped it to YouTube after the fact, so I'd been able to just watch it there. Yeah, upload. Okay, fair enough. Also, YouTube, which I believe is what it was called. I want to say that is actually might have been what it was called in Steins Gate 2, which would make sense, because same universe, but... I still didn't feel any better, though. Those last words Shogun had left behind. It was almost as if he knew about God's gaze and how much it terrified me. It was way too specific for it to just be a coincidence. Either you type that to yourself, or Shogun is... That is terrifying either way, though. Dude, I am so locked in. Dude, this story has gripped me, and we literally haven't even left our fucking, like, crate. Maybe someone had leaked some info about me online. Maybe it was another ESO player with a grudge against Neidhart or something. Prodigies like me got a lot of love, so naturally they also got a lot of hate. Sure, interesting thinking of yourself as a prodigy. Well, most haters out there were just jealous. You wouldn't see them around much, but every once in a while some child would try to start shit because he was jealous of Neidhart's strength and popularity. They weren't worth anyone's time. But we've gone off topic now. Anyway, yeah, that Shogun guy really got to me. Earlier I tried logging on to ESO to grind for a little while, but I just couldn't concentrate. And to make matters worse, of all days for this to happen...
最悪の日だ。
I'm assuming it's a day that you have to go to school, or like the next day, or whatever. Oh, cutscene! Oh, I thought this was a cutscene. On top of everything else that had happened, I also have to go to school today, yep. I seriously didn't want to go, but if I didn't follow the minimum attendance sheet to a T, my calculations would get completely thrown off. Worst case scenario, I'd even have to repeat the year.
眠いのに。
I stifled a yawn and started trudging up toward school. A trip that was about 10 minutes from my base on foot. As soon as I started walking, my mood sank even lower. Kind of a cool little background here. My body grew heavy, and I found it strangely hard to breathe, causing me to break into an uncomfortable sweat. This was what always happened on school days. Going to school was pure suffering. Why did I have to go through this? Grumbling to myself with my eyes fixed on the pavement, I kept on walking. I turned to enter Shoto Park. The school was just past it. Over by the lake, an elderly couple was taking their morning stroll. Nearby, a businessman sat on a bench reading the sports section of the newspaper. For a park on the outskirts of a bustling city like Shibuya, it was surprisingly calm. Definitely a great place to relax. Surprisingly, it's not so hard to find those places in Tokyo. I took a seat on another bench nearby. Before heading into school in the morning, I always came here to eat breakfast. I gazed out toward the peaceful pond, the water surrounded by trees with off-color leaves, their hues slowly changing as autumn rolled in. As per usual, today's menu was just a cream bun that I'd picked up from the convenience store on the way here. It'd be enough to tide me over until later tonight. Yeah, I don't know about that, but fair enough. I always skipped lunch. I'm actually a lunch-dinner person. I don't really eat breakfast. Nobody wanted to eat lunch with an otaku freak like me, and there was no way in hell I'd eat alone when surrounded by people eating and chatting together. Damn. After washing down my breakfast with some cola, okay, I began staring up at the sky absent-mindedly. Okay, back to the sky, that blue sky. Where did that sky go? Yep. No matter the season, the sky above Shibuya was always pretty bleak. It looks nice here. A little cloudy, but... My parents only lived a few train stations away, but there was still a clear difference between here and there. Don't get me wrong, I didn't especially mind the bleak sky, but I also couldn't really explain why. Like I said again, this is not really a bleak sky, guys. I glanced at my watch to check the time. I needed to get going or I'd be late. I had to avoid that outcome at all costs. Only came to school 2 to 3 times a week, so I had to keep a low profile. To make it through school, I had to blend in, to become invisible like the air. The ideal school day was one where nothing happened, one where I didn't have to deal with any of my teachers or DQN classmates. That was the ultimate goal I shot for, and it would continue to be until the day I'd finally graduate. Fair enough. This was Sume Private Academy, the school I went to. I will say the sound effects like in the background there are really light. I feel like the voice. I actually feel like my audio settings are pretty good though. I think my audio settings might be good. So far, they've felt pretty about right. Apparently, it had only been built around 10 years ago, so it didn't exactly have a rich history or anything like that. Since it still looked brand new, it made a pretty good setting for high school TV shows. Oh, do we have filming sometimes here? On top of that, the school uniforms had apparently been designed by some famous designer. A ton of shallow-ass girls enrolled just so that they could wear it. Wow. I mean, it looks clean enough. I like I like how much it matches, right? Like obviously the skirts, you have the short skirt, the long skirt, and the pants, but it really does, like, I like how the men and women's outfits match so much. And while they called it a prep school, most students here didn't score much higher than the national average. Okay, so it's like a slightly above average school, but it is a bit hoity-toity. Even more ironic, though, was that the school's slogan was, "Here you'll be free," and yet the school rules were actually really strict. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds very, like, Japanese contradiction. Then again, they never actually bothered enforcing those rules. Oh, fair enough. So I guess the slogan wasn't really wrong in the end. Fair enough. I mean, I barely ever showed up, and I've passed my classes just fine. If you could get away with that, you could probably get away with anything. Damn. As I closed in on the school, I could hear the other students more and more clearly. I wasn't good at dealing with crowds, so I just kept my head low as I slipped through the gate. Jesus Christ, this guy is like really... This guy really doesn't like social interaction. Nobody talk to me, nobody talk to me. I repeated those words in my head like a mantra. My younger sister also attended this school, though she still lived with my parents. Okay, this guy happens to apparently has a younger sister. That's an interesting revelation. Run into her, and any perfectly fine day could turn into a nightmare. Why, because she hates you or because she loves you? Okay, we actually have, like, kind of designs. I mean, it's still kind of vagued out, but you almost kind of have designs going on here. Luckily, I hadn't run into her this time. I made it to class safe and sound. Of course, he's sitting in the back right corner, or by his perspective, back left, but by the front of the room perspective, back right corner near the window. That's the cliche in anime. I rushed over to my seat, being extra careful not to make eye contact with anyone. I could feel a nearby group of girls shoot a glance at me, but thankfully they went right back to chatting afterward. They all thought I was a freak, I was sure of it. Well, from my point of view, you 3D sluts are the real freaks here. Holy shit! That's crazy. If you think I'm a freak, then don't look at me. Just pretend like I'm not here. Don't acknowledge me at all. This is like really like it's weird because it's kind of depressing. Yet I maybe not this aggressive, but I definitely think there's people that have been through this, and I don't doubt that there's people that at least to some degree could relate to this character. It's interesting to say the least. If you all just do that, then I won't bother you either, and I could go about my day in peace. That's why it always confuses me when I see DQNs calling people freaks. I just don't get it. If you think they're such a freak, then why even bother talking to them? Just stay in your corner and they'll stay in theirs. Regardless, I was just sitting there looking down at my desk when, oh, is somebody gonna walk up to us? What the fuck?
Yo, Taku.
It's a guy. Oh my god, male character. Someone suddenly clapped me on the back. Startled, I turned to look behind me.
お前、今日って学校来る日だっけ?
Why is this guy hella fucking pretty? What the hell?
Misumi-kun.
Misumi-kun, huh? I kind of like this theme song. I also like the Sume logo on the outfit. Ooh! Ooh! Bro got a theme to him! He's very happy, too. It was Misumi Daisuke, one of my classmates. He shot me a friendly smile from behind my desk. Alright. Misumi Daisuke. Alright, we got our first character notes for a non-Takumi character. The guy was pretty handsome, so all the girls were into him, but he was also into them and dated them. A lot of them, usually multiple at a time. If you asked me, he was balls deep into DQN territory. That's crazy. The music's actually going really loud, so I'm not sure. I might actually have to turn down the music more. If it were up to me, I'd steer clear of him, but...
相変わらず暗い顔してんな。ゲームのやりすぎで寝不足か?
Grim's an interesting term to use. Let's try that. He was the only person in the class who was comfortable talking to me. Though we had absolutely nothing in common, so I had no idea why he bothered. I'd been suspicious about it ever since the school year began. If I were a girl, I could maybe understand, but since I was a guy, it made no sense to me.
引きこもりだからしゃあねえかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこう、ハキハキ答えろって。
I think he's just the type that's just friendly to everyone. There are people like that, even the people that others don't see that in that way. Also, I love that, like, I was talking about, oh, there's gonna be 20 million females in this character, and in this game, and the first real character we meet is a dude. Like, based Chiyomaru, like, subverting my expectations. And what if I could? Just the act of talking to another 3D human being was painful. I love how much he emphasizes the fact that, like, he struggles to interact with real people, and, like, emphasizing it with the 2D, 3D divide is a really interesting way to go about that. Anxiety made it hard for me to speak naturally. My lack of experience made it hard for me to articulate things. And I was always afraid of being teased for saying something weird. That was why I always shrunk back. You have no idea how much pain I'm going through, so please don't talk like you know me. I don't know, I feel like this guy probably knows you at least a little bit. Also, I'm not a goddamn shut-in. Real shut-ins stay in their rooms 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I'm not like that. I'm really enjoying the music, but it's just a lot louder than I was expecting. It's funny because, dude, oh, the blinking too. Bro, it's so funny that bro makes that comment because I'm just looking at this guy and I'm like, damn, this guy's pretty. Like, holy. I get why all the girls like him. But that's a crazy comment. What was that sound you just made, Takumi? Wait, was he just dating girls as a cover? Had he been into guys all along? I would think that would actually really help with your self-esteem if this super pretty guy was into you. Hey, there is also option 3, bro. He could swing both ways. I tried to back away from him, nearly falling out of my chair in the process, but I quickly grabbed onto my desk to catch myself. Honestly, what are you doing, dude?
三角君はホモなの？なわけねえだろ。お前、俺の女好きを忘れたのか?
This is a crazy conversation. This does feel like the conversation, you know,
だよね。ビビった。
I love how it was terrifying because he was concerned that Mizumi was into him.
ちなみに
Where's this going? That smirk is wild, by the way. Izumi-kun took a quick look around, then lowered his voice and grinned from ear to ear.
昨日このクラスの女子で3人目を落とした。誰だか聞きたいか?
That is a crazy thing to say! I guess this is like bro talk, but thankfully I thankfully never was friends with someone like this. That is crazy, though.
いいよ、別に。だよ。
Yeah, bro wants to brag.
田中だぜ、田中。
Tanaka.
田中って誰？
He doesn't even know.
お前もうすぐ10月だってのに未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてねえのか。
Wow.
ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃそれも当然か。
Fair. Visibly frustrated, he shrugged his shoulders and let out a sigh. Well, interestingly enough, he never insulted my taste in girls, which was, to put it simply, that they had to be from the second dimension. I mean, hey, I've heard worse takes on worse taste than that, to be honest. But he'd never call me a freak for that. He just didn't bother with things that didn't interest him. Yeah, and that's probably why you respect him quite a bit. That was what made me think he may not have been all that bad. That was also probably the reason why I didn't mind talking to him. So that's the thing, you're just kind of a weird guy, and if someone respects who you are, you don't really mind talking to them, which is to show that you actually don't mind interacting with real people. It's just, you're just worried that every real person is going to label you just a weirdo and a freak, and so it's like, it's almost like a pseudo-defense mechanism, if anything.
これでうちのクラスの可愛い女はほぼ攻略完了だ。
Sure, bro.
そろそろ隣のクラスにも守備範囲広げようかって思ってんだよ。
Dude, this guy's insane. Okay, maybe he was pretty bad. If a girl overheard some of the shit he said, she'd be horrified. The worst part is that there'd be girls that would be like, I can fix him.
D 組によ、めったに学校来ねえけど、すごくいい女がいるらしいんだよ。
Interesting. I wonder if this is the pink hair.
なんかそういうの燃えねえか。
Wow.
あ、お前の場合は燃えるんじゃなくて燃えだっけか。
No shit. Are you talking about 2D? That's not... Whatever.
ま、お前の興
That's
味ねえ
funny
話は
because
そろ
it's
そろやめるか。
two-dimensional. Oh my god.
じゃあよ、ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ。
Oh, new gen's coming up again. Are you the new gen killer, sir? I hadn't expected to hear those words come out of his mouth. He had a little heartbeat moment. And here I thought he was only capable of thinking about girls. I really like that the tie matches the pants and skirts, too. I actually like this uniform quite a bit. I couldn't even picture him watching the news or reading the newspaper.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも噂によると殺人らしいぜ。
So I wonder if this conversation's gonna keep coming up. So like every time he, whether it's online or IRL, he keeps running into this conversation about new gen.
へえ。
マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポトに。
I believe it's Tokyo Sports, not Sports Tokyo. The reason I know that is because, you know, sometimes like Japanese wrestlers do interviews with Tokyo Sports. What? So his source was Tokyo Sports? That kind of erased any and all credibility. Obviously, we know what a source is. The origin of a person's information, be it a document, news article, historical materials, etc. Due to the large amount of false information present on online forums, it is important for a poster to provide the source if they want to be trusted. Often referred to on the internet as sauce. For example, where's the sauce? Where is the source of that? I didn't actually know. I mean, I know that sauce is slang for source, but I feel like that's only used with like lewd stuff. Like the meme is like, where's the sauce? Give me the sauce, right? But like, I guess it could be used for anything, but I thought sauce was only for like, NSFW content, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I assume I am based on that explanation. Still, I'd already known about that rumor, not that I cared.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で、しかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ。
And that's why he's interested. Interesting. So that, if that's true, that the killer is a woman, that actually would rule out, it's certainly a hot woman for that matter, that would rule out Takumi, which is interesting.
女。
Watching Masumi-kun get so excited, it finally hit me. This is like the reverse of like the true crime women who get like, who fall in love with like serial killers. But this is like, it's a pretty boy, a bit of a fuck boy, and he's in love with the idea of like a female serial killer. Why did he suddenly care enough to read Tokyo Sports? Same reason he cared about anything else, something to do with girls. What a twist. I guess Masumi-kun would even go after serial killers as long as they were cute. Oh, you have no idea how many people would, bro. I mean, if it were me, I'd take a cute 2D serial killer, but I wasn't ready for that. Mizumi-kun stared longingly at the blue sky outside the window. Yep, more emphasis on the blue sky. And for some reason, his face suddenly lit up as if he'd reached enlightenment itself. Oh, did the girl show up? The girl from the other class, D, that doesn't show up a lot? Is that
どん
what...
なやつなんだろうな、犯人って。本当に美人なのかな。会ってみて。
All I gotta say, bro, is be careful what you wish for, because you might get to meet her, and then we might be finding your body or some shit. Yeah, this dude definitely thought exclusively with the wrong head. Nice.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも、俺みたいないい男に会ったら、コロッと惚れちゃうぜ。
A nice guy like you, huh? And that's why she wouldn't kill you? Yeah, I'm with Takumi on this one. This guy was so delusional that he gave me a run for my money, based. The fact that he was able to say all that without even a hint of irony was honestly pretty gross.
僕は興味ないから。
I mean, fair enough. Good for you to recognize that.
でもよ、興味ないっつったって、犯人は絶対この辺うろうろしてんだぞ。どっかですれ違ってたりするかもしんねえし。
It's absolutely possible. Yeah, well, for all I know, you could be the murderer. I mean, to be fair, he is pretty. He might not be, I mean, you know, he could probably pass for a cutie quite easily. Okay, probably not, but it was entirely possible the killer could be one of the students at this very school. It's almost like it's 100% a student at this very school. If that turned out to be true, maybe I'd use my PTSD as an excuse to come in less often without hurting my attendance. Yes, post-traumatic stress disorder. From the DSM-IV, so DSM-4, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th edition, published by the American Psychiatric Association in 1994. A mental condition caused by the severe psychological shock of an accident, disaster, crime, or other intense stressor. It induces several stress-related symptoms, including emotional instability, insomnia, confusion, and vivid flashbacks. These symptoms are often triggered in response to stimulus that is similar to the original trauma. A patient must experience these symptoms for over a month in order to be diagnosed with PTSD. I'm sure that definition has shifted a little bit because this is 30 years later. But, you know, maybe even more than 30 years, depending on when you guys watch this. But time I'm recording this, 30 years later. But generally speaking, that is what PTSD is. Obviously, it's most common. I feel like it's most commonly found in soldiers or veterans, like ex-soldiers. But it comes from all different forms and all different walks of life, of course.
なあ、今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かね。ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ。
That's crazy. That is a crazy thing to be like, hey, you want to check out the crime scene with me? I had absolutely zero interest in doing that. I just wanted to get through school in peace, go home, greet Seraton, and get back to being worshipped like a god in Baselard.
もう小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
Kobashi and Hasegawa, huh?
本当に興味ないんだ。
Oh no. What in the world? What is this? I felt bad about turning Mizumi-kun down since he seemed so excited about it, but I really did not want to go. What is happening? I am terrified. But even though I was trying my hardest to refuse, he just wasn't listening.
そしたら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻ってくるってよく言うだろ。
That is a stereotype that's not really true, though.
で、次はタクがターゲットにされるんだ。死をもって罪を償え。みたいな。罪状はそうだな。
What the fuck?
引きこもってたからってことで。
Wow. That's crazy. Also, yeah, it's like the city that...
僕は引きこもりじゃ。
What was that? Like, Like, I'm so confused as to what was even happening there. So I just want to, like, oh god, I guess we have to save again. God, we don't have saves. So if I like save, right? If I save here, right? And then load into this, right? Oh.
そしたら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に
I don't know what to, like,
戻っ
is
てくる
there
ってよく言うだろ。
button? Like, it wouldn't be, oh. I already tried left and right. That just advances the text. Oh, that's quick save. Okay, so it's not that. I already know that L1 skips. What about the triggers, maybe? Whoa. It is the triggers. What the fuck? What in the world? Exit game, help, backlog, auto mode, tips, quick save, load, quick save. Yeah. Wait. Delusion trigger. ZC. The game hasn't even explained this to me. And yet I'm able to... What in the world? So these are like branching points in the story. And you can't quick save here. Seemingly. Huh. That's really interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'm gonna not do it for now.
僕は引きこもりじゃ
Taking some offense at Misubi-kun's choice of words, I will snap back at him. But I quickly decided against it when I considered the possibility that he might get upset at me. So I just bit my lip and turned away, and when I did, I noticed there was something written on the blackboard. First, I didn't really care enough to read what was written there. My mind only registered the fact that something was written there and not what it was. But the longer I gazed at it, the more I realized something was wrong. Before I knew it, I was out of my chair.
ちょっとどいて。
おい、どうしたんだよ。
What's on the blackboard? What the hell? I pushed Mizumi-kun aside and rushed over to the blackboard. The instant I realized what it said, I felt my heart stop. Whose eyes are those eyes? Dude, this is creepy. This is really cool. I wasn't expecting, like, I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't really expecting, like, a serial killer story. Those were the words I said to myself whenever I felt God's gaze. I never said them out loud before. I hadn't told anyone about them either. Not even Mizumi-kun. It didn't matter how often I used it, there was no way anyone in this class could know about that phrase. So who, why, how? I quickly turned around and scanned the room. The only person paying any attention to me was Mizumi-kun. The rest were talking to their friends, reading manga, despite manga being against the rules, or sleeping on their desks. Then who? Who had written it, and when? Had it been there the whole time, since before I'd even entered the classroom? I couldn't remember. It wasn't like I ever paid any attention to the blackboard anyway.
なあ、どうしたんだ。
Mizumi-kun walked up to me, grabbed my shoulder, and gave me a good shake.
聞いてる？おーい、タク。
It didn't matter who'd written it. It had to be a coincidence. It must have just been a common phrase or something. Just a stupid, pointless scribble. Yeah, that had to be it. I'm so curious about the delusion thing. I tried to convince myself of that, but it was still freaking me out. I still had no clue who'd written it. I'd have to ask everyone in the class to figure that out, and I didn't have anywhere near that kind of courage. Immediately after I thought that, homeroom began and my teacher came in the room. His eyes immediately zeroed in on the words written on the board. With a quick, "Come on, who wrote this?" he grabbed the eraser and wiped them all away. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's a very, that was a very, like, Fate transition. For some reason, I was still a little creeped out, but I tried to just carry on like always. If I let myself get any more scared, I'd probably start thinking that someone was deliberately targeting me. Yeah, it's almost like you're the target of a serial killer or something. But that was ridiculous. It was just a coincidence. In the end, I had to keep telling myself that until school was over, and when it finally was, I headed toward my usual internet cafe. Okay. For an indoor person like me, at cafe was the only hangout spot I enjoyed. Also, the ad for Empire Sweeper Online, and also Programmers Wanted free training. Now only 500,000 yen to apply. Become a manager today. Shady Corp is crazy. But also, yeah, what type of scam is that? Oh yeah, you have to pay 500,000 yen to apply. What? Being at the center of Shibuya and all, there were plenty of 3D DQN women and office drones occupying it. That's crazy. But since the rooms were all private, that wasn't an issue. As for the room I was in, it was the one I always reserved, room 37, located way in the back. It was pretty inconvenient to get refills, but since very few people ever reserved rooms near the back, it was nice and quiet. Once or twice a week, I'd come here on my way home from school to log on to my other ESO account. Night Art was essentially a celebrity, but so this was my way to just relax and enjoy the game. While I did love being treated like a hero all the time, it sure did take its toll. This was why I made another avatar. Character used to represent an internet user on websites, chat rooms, online games, and other online communities, of course. This one was a female character named Lizalote. It's kind of a cool name. I didn't accomplish anything big with her. I'd mainly just made her to help Neidhart look even better by comparison. I played for about 3 hours to blow off some steam. I then had some fun messing around with my guildmates while talking about hardcore dojins and other random shit. That's crazy. Yeah, okay, so dojin, short for doujinshi, the Japanese term for self-published works, with the most popular being media associated with otaku such as manga or light novels. They are most often sold at various conventions or offline. While they can feature NSFW content, many do not, and that's an important distinction that a lot of people don't actually know that. Guild. When used in online games, it refers to a particular group of players that center around a single leader. These groups are akin to small communities where users can chat and adventure together. Some guilds are so tight-knit that they often organize offline meets in order to see each other in real life. Okay, fair enough. By the time I'd left the cafe, it was already around 9 p.m. There were even more DQNs around at this time of night. Oh my god. I love the people in the background. You got a girl that kind of looks like, what's it called? You got a girl that kind of looks like, oh my god, why am I derping on her name? Makima. And then you got a guy that, I was gonna say almost looks like an older, Emi Yashiro, but I don't know. Anyways, they'd line the street like they own the place, stuffing their faces with greedy-ass hamburgers as they let out the most disgusting laughter imaginable. Just looking at them made me want to puke. I mean, coming from you and your weird laugh, that's saying a lot. And what was especially bad, if you just so much as looked at them the wrong way, they'd immediately come and beat the shit out of you. Fucking savages. They weren't human, they were animals, not fit for civilized society. Just throw them in a slaughterhouse or something, seriously. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. Well, I say that, but there was no way I could hope to ever stand up to them myself, so there was no point in trying. Regardless, it was time to get the hell out of center, guy. Not familiar. Japanese word used here as a suffix meaning street. The word dori can also be used in this way. Fair enough. On my way back from At Cafe, I always dropped by Manga Darake, which was pretty close by, or Animite, which was a bit further off. I like these, like, realistic kind of, again, the inside thing. Again, that is all over the place. That definitely is very important. But I like these, like, semi-real depictions of the streets. Of Shibuya, in this case. I decided to check out Animite today, so I headed towards the station's south entrance. Or exit, whatever. Down that path, there was an instant drop in the number of DQNs. Man, Center Guy was complete and utter chaos. Just walking through it brought me nothing but pain and suffering. I'd never set foot there again if I could help it. Wish the whole place would just get blown to smithereens. Except At Cafe and Manga Darake, of course. Yeah, you shouldn't be saying that. Given the intro to this game, I'm a little concerned about comments like that. Especially if your delusions become real. I'm a little scared of the idea of what would happen if his delusions became reality. Alright then, time to go browsing for some comics, dojins, or whatever else catches my eye. Oh yeah, that's right. The Blood Tomb Volume 5 DVD was coming out soon. Was it available for pre-order yet? If so, I definitely needed to get one nailed down. Fair enough. Before I knew it, I found myself in an alleyway in Maru Yamacho, the same alley I always took back home from Animite. I blinked a couple times to make sure that I wasn't just seeing things. I took a look inside my bag. Nothing inside but the usual, some textbooks and the handheld game system. I hadn't bought anything from Animite today. Strange. Normally I'd never leave Animite empty-handed. Well, whatever. I let out a sigh and continued walking. Shouldn't take me more than 15 minutes to reach my base from here. It's also interesting because you're talking about that. I like how it skipped over the scene of going to Animite, and then he's like, wait, did I really not buy anything? It's almost like he never actually went to Animite, and there's like a meta component in there that's like really interesting. Not sure, again, that could lead into the whole delusions thing again. It was only a short walk from the station, yet the dazzling neon lights and thick crowds had all but vanished. There were the occasional passerbys, usually older couples heading to love hotels or random businessmen heading home, but aside from that, the place was deserted. Hard to believe this was still Shibuya, home of the bustling, TQN-infested Center Guy. Somehow, it was already nighttime. If that weren't enough, it was especially cloudy tonight, making it even darker than usual since the moonlight couldn't shine through. Interesting. Another transition.
まただ。
Is that German? That looks I think that's German on the right. Here we go again. I'd walked down this dirty alley more times than I could count. But for some reason, walking through it today, I couldn't help but feel as if I'd stepped into another world. Isekai time. The alley was the same as ever, but it felt like it was the first time I'd ever set foot in it. Like I said, I would either turn to the right or perhaps not turn to the right. What's more, the stench of rotting garbage was lingering in the air. Is that the only thing rotting? The moisture in the atmosphere was so thick that if I hadn't known any better, I'd have assumed that it had just been raining. The air was like syrup on my skin.
いや、ちょっと待った。
Why did I say again? Has this happened before? Dude, what is going on? Hadn't I felt this set of jamais vu before? I mean, I saw the thing said deja vu / I guess jamais vu. Interesting. Oh my god, deja vu is coming up in this game too. That's crazy. Deja vu is the feeling of having experienced something before despite not having actually experienced it. It feels as if one is recalling a genuine past experience as opposed to an imagined experience or a dream. However, the individual undergoing this phenomenon is unable to recall when and where that experience occurred, which results in an intense feeling of strangeness. See, what's interesting about this is because I do know that all the science adventure games take place in the same universe or whatever. Canonically, deja vu basically is like a world line thing in this universe, which is really interesting that we have that like weird pseudo context from having seen an anime for a different series in the Sci-Av universe. The cause of deja vu has yet to be determined. Yep. One theory is that it is a physiological phenomenon caused by extremely rare temporary desynchronization of the recollection and storage functions of memory. The cause is theorized to be spasms in the brain's parahippocampal gyrus, which is in charge of spatial reasoning and the sensation of familiarity. There's also the opposite of deja vu, where one feels that they have not experienced something despite having experienced it in the past. This is known as jamais vu. I have no idea if that's how I'm pronouncing it right, but jamais vu just feels right. Fuck, was I getting my delusions mixed up with reality or something? Sound like the kind of nonsense some expert psychiatrist would say on one of those TV talk shows. Well, whatever. The point was, right at that moment, I was feeling a strange sense of jamais vu. But on top of that, I feel a prickling sensation on the nape of my neck. Sensation I knew very well. Feeling of being watched from the heavens. God's gaze. And I could say for sure that it was no delusion. Felt inescapable, as if, no matter where I went, the gaze would follow. There was no doubt in my mind. Somebody was watching me. That was just how powerful the sensation was. I desperately wanted to look behind me, but I challenged myself not to. It was a game that I played every once in a while, a test. I called it the "it'll take more than that to make me turn around" game. The aim of the game, obviously, was to avoid turning around. I played it when I heard a weird sound or felt like I was being watched. Whenever I felt the gaze, I tended to imagine some kind of insanely terrifying ghost or monster lurking behind me. Not like I'd ever actually seen anything in the past 17 years, though, even on the occasions when I'd lost my patience and turned around. Still, I'd always been able to have at least a little bit of fun with it. I'd listen to the wind, raise an eyebrow suspiciously, and say phrases ripped straight out of a manga. That was the only reason why I did it, because it was fun. Definitely not because I was scared or anything.
貴様、見ているな。その目誰の目？
There it is. Whose eyes are those eyes?
なんちゃって。
What the fuck? Okay, to be honest, I was really just trying to act calm, but before I knew it, I'd stopped dead in my tracks. Sensed a change in the atmosphere, paralyzing my body in place. I then noticed my face was soaked with sweat and my knees were shaking. Unable to take it anymore, I turned around, which meant that I'd lost. But thankfully, there was no one behind me. Not even a car passing by or something. So why did I feel so uneasy? The ringing in my ears ceased. I hadn't even realized it, but I'd been hearing some ringing sound this whole time. Yep, we got to hear it. But still, until now, I'd been completely oblivious to it. Now that it was gone, I couldn't hear anything at all. For a place like Tokyo, this sort of sudden silence seemed completely unreal. It was the sort of perfect silence where you could hear a pin drop if you focused hard enough. So I closed my eyes and listened closely, just to see what I could hear. Cutscene? Nope. But I still couldn't hear anything at all. That was pretty strange. No, that was definitely strange. There were all sorts of things I should have been hearing. Trains running by, car horns in the distance, some sort of small noise. So why did I hear nothing? Something wrong with my ears? I felt compelled to shout just so I could hear something. Felt like I might go crazy otherwise. I think you're worried about that more often than not, but nonetheless. But I couldn't do it. The silence was deafening, but it made me fear what would happen if I broke it. Oh. There it is. Suddenly, a single sound resonated through the silent world. Oh, it's the crosses. It's the metal crosses. I turned my head to look for the source, but instead I found a slew of shining objects scattered across the asphalt.
十字架?
Yep. When I saw them, my body suddenly unfroze, and naturally, perhaps too naturally, I started moving toward them. Oh, we're about to find a dead body, or bodies. Driven by curiosity, I picked one up. It was made of metal with a long pointy end like a needle. A stake or a nail, maybe. Either or. Whatever it was shaped like a cross, hence my initial confusion. It felt almost phantasmal, like it might float away at any moment. I tightened my grip on it. Ooh. Ooh, the music's starting to cook. The piano's coming in. And the sound continued to reverberate faintly in the distance. A sound cold enough to send chills down my spine, repeating incessantly. Even so, I couldn't help but move towards its source. It's like I was in a trance. Was it just morbid curiosity, or was I hoping that the noise would save me? Would grant me salvation from this silent world? You know, this reminded me of that one German folktale. What was it called again? Oh yeah, the Pied Piper of Hamelin. A story in which the sound of one man's pipe lured over 100 children into following him. Yeah, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like the stakes / nails / crosses are being like beat into something. Like a hammering into it, potentially by our serial killer. The changing sound refused to stop, and the farther I walked, the louder it got. It was coming from farther down the alley, past the corner on my left. I could already tell, if I turned that corner, I would be met with the source of that sound. And yet, I never thought of turning back. Such a thought didn't even cross my mind. It's like my body was moving on its own. And so, I turned the corner, and my eyes were struck by red, a vibrant crimson shining through the darkness. I feel like this was heavily inspired by Fate. I'm getting a lot of like little things from a production standpoint. And again, maybe I just haven't dove deep enough into visual novels, but there's just a lot of little things about this that are making me think of Fate Stay Night. Oh, dear God. And that's a girl with pink hair. My first thought was, where have I seen this art piece before? My second thought was, it doesn't look very realistic. Maybe I was so shocked that my brain wasn't processing things properly. Normally when I saw something this terrifying, I'd freeze, scream like a little girl, and piss my pants all at once. The work consisted of spikes arranged on a wall like the quills of a hedgehog or pins in a pincushion. When I looked closer, I realized the pincushion was leaking blood. That is a crazy shot. That just seems to be some man. It's not a student at our school, or at the very least they're not wearing our uniform or anything. So then that meant that the puddle of crimson below it was blood. The feeble glow of a street light just barely reached it, causing the pool to gleam in the darkness. But obviously, this pink-haired girl, very interesting color of hair, is seemingly wearing our school uniform. Scattered around were a few shining pieces of what looked like meat. Maybe I couldn't really tell. I tried to gulp, but my throat had gone completely dry. Not a single drop of saliva to be found. And then I realized. The thing that was nailed to the wall? Yep. Was a human corpse. A murder that was far too unnatural. Far too brutal. Far too immoderate. And the one who'd done it, the one who had nailed these stakes to the wall, was a single girl. As for how I knew that? Oh! It was because she was right there, standing in front of her art, holding a bundle of stakes in her blood-soaked hand. That is crazy. Imagine seeing this in an alley in fucking Shibuya. Yeah, yeah. I don't care what delusions you have. If your reaction's not to run, you have something wrong with you. I could only see her back from here, so I obviously had no clue what she looked like. What I could tell, though, was what she was wearing. A Suime Academy uniform. The stench of rotting garbage was intensifying, and I was hit with wave after wave of nausea. I put a hand in my mouth to stop myself from vomiting, but I was nearly at my limit. And then it suddenly dawned on me, the cause of my deja vu, the answer to the question, where have I seen this before? Yep.
あの時の
Yep.
将軍のリンク写真
Yep, the picture Shogun sent. Without meaning to, I'd said that out loud, without realizing how dangerous or even deadly that mistake could be. In response to my voice, her shoulder twitched slightly. With that, she slowly turned to face me. Oh God! In that moment, it was as if her gaze was piercing straight through me. Such desolate eyes. All of a sudden, she's just right on top of us, though, in the screen. That's terrifying. It's interesting how they use space in this, right? Because, like, you know, you could have put her dead middle in the screen, but she's not. She's more to the side. Like, it's interesting. Such desolate eyes, huh? Windows to the souls, right? And, like, she has no soul, and, like, questioning, you know, the idea of a soul, but yet she has, like, these, like, glassy, dead eyes that imply that lack of soul. She had just killed someone. Oh, we're actually getting like a proper sprite of her. Really cool design. I actually like her design. Like, I get the hair color is a little, you know, I feel like it's a little cliche, but again, to be fair, this game's pretty old. This game's like at least 15 years old, 16 years old, 15 or 16 years old. I believe 08, 09, I believe is Chaos Head. I think 08 might be Chaos Head, 09 might be Chaos Head Noah, but you get the point. I like her design, though. She looks good, and the school uniform is great. Like I said, I really like their school uniforms, both the male and female. I like the ways they match. Like, I like that blue, dark blue and lighter blue, like, plaid that's, like, almost like a purple, and how it's on their, like, their skirts. It's on, like, their accessories, like their bow ties, their ties, the pants. Like, I really like the design of the uniform. At first, she seemed shocked, but her expression quickly changed to a somber smile. And then...
よかった。
Looks like her eyes lit up a little there. She softly whispered those words. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for what? Is she happy we found us? It would be interesting if she just killed us. And, like, we would then have to, like, go back in time. Because there was that delusion trigger thing, whatever that is. So it would be interesting if, like, this is a bad end. And we then have to go back. Where, like, she kills us, but we have to go a different path. But we go down that path with the information of this path, right? Like, the player does. Like, I don't know. Like, again... A lot of the visual novels I've played have been quite linear, so it'll be very interesting to play one that seemingly is going to be a little less linear, potentially. And why was she smiling at me? Seems like a genuine smile, too. Like, it's almost creepier because it doesn't come across as like a serial killer. I didn't understand. The questions kept piling up to the point where it sent a chill down my spine. Now panicking, I tried averting my eyes. The first thing that came to mind was, I don't want anything to do with this. I mean, for starters, I could hardly make eye contact with regular 3D girls, let alone psycho killers. The police would be here soon, and I was hungry. Bringing up the hungry thing is crazy. That's why I should just go home. Yeah, I need to get out of here as fast as humanly possible. If I don't, I'll go insane. That's the least of your concerns, honestly. She knows our name. Oh my god. She's gonna say her name is Sarah, isn't she? That reaction is crazy. Suddenly, she called me by name. Even though I never told her my name. Even though I never even met her before. She's gonna say her name is Sarah.
あなたに会いたかった。
That is terrifying. As she looked at me, her lips twisted into a horrifically fearsome smile. Almost like she was a demon. That scream was insane. Screaming at the top of my lungs, I ran as fast as my legs could carry me. It hurt to breathe, but I didn't care. I just kept screaming and running as if my life depended on it. Dude, I'm like so locked in. This is so good. Like, I feel like we're getting close to a cutoff point, but holy shit, this first episode has gripped me so much that, like, I have to keep, like, we're totally playing this. I don't know, this might see the light of day sooner than I intend, just because I kind of want to share, I already want to share this experience with you guys. At one point along the way, I turned my head to look behind me, but she didn't seem to be chasing me. What the fuck? TV turning off? What the fuck? Oh, okay. I was completely winded. My lungs struggled to shovel in air in and out, and my agonized panting echoed throughout my room. I plopped down in my computer chair. My body and clothes were completely drenched in sweat. Yeah, do you have a shower in here or something? Like, that would be kind of weird if you didn't, to be honest. What the fuck had just happened? Another one of my delusions? That's the thing. He doesn't even know for sure if it's a delusion or not, but I bet it won't be long till on the news he'll see that that body will be found, probably tomorrow morning. My nausea was becoming unbearable. Trying to alleviate it, I grabbed a cola from the fridge and chugged it as fast as I could. That's a weird way to try and alleviate nausea. I would go for water, but I mean, I do love Coke. That delusion was way too realistic, even for my usual standards, and boy was it gruesome. Too gruesome. I was still out of breath. Could a simple delusion really do this to me? No, it definitely couldn't. He seems pretty confident that wasn't a delusion, though, which is fair. I felt an uncomfortable sensation in my right hand. I've been clenching my fists so hard, my fingers had nearly turned white. Hadn't even noticed until just now. I slowly opened my hand, one finger at a time, all while my heart pounded like a drum. He still has the steak. Yep, he grabbed it. Lying in the palm of my hand was a single steak. That's crazy. Terrified by the sight of it, I instinctively turned and threw it against the wall. That was the steak from before. Well, I definitely did pick one off the ground earlier, but how was that even possible? Hadn't it all been just a delusion? You were literally convincing yourself it wasn't a delusion. That shows how badly he wanted it to be a delusion. I don't know. It can't be possible. It can't be. Whoa. No, he's just looking around violently and stuff. Wait, what? I think I got distracted and missed a line of dialogue. Yeah, I'm at my wit's end. I started pacing around my room. I needed to figure out whether that nightmare had been real or just another delusion. That was the plan, at least, until I slipped on a CD case and lost my balance. In a panic, I reached out for something to keep myself from falling flat on the floor. I barely managed to find something to latch onto, but unfortunately that something was my shelf of waifus. Oh no! Before I had the chance to regret it, it was already too late. In the end, no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't able to stop myself from falling ass first onto the floor. And to make matters worse, several of my beautifully arranged figures came tumbling down on top of me. Ugh, god damn it, this was the worst. Everything about this was just the worst. I let out a groan as I rose to my feet. I had to make sure my figures were safe. Oh Dude, that's crazy because this is like, I think this is actually like a real figure. That they like broke this, like that legitimately, like more never looks like a real figure. I'm not familiar with Ignis from Jingai Miyakyo. I have no idea the character or the sword. I don't know if this is fictional or a real fictional, if you know what I mean. Like a real world anime or manga or whatever. It snapped clean in two. Why did it have to be one of the expensive ones? I paid a premium online for this. That's rough, bro. That's really rough, bro. I tried putting the two halves of the blade back together, but I'd never be able to fix it perfectly, even if I used glue. Any value it once had was now gone. Now, to be fair, if you could fix it and it doesn't look too bad, I mean, you seem like the type that is never planning to sell it anyways. Damn. I turned to my chair and kicked it out of sheer rage. Tears began to well up in my eyes. Why did I have to go through all this? What did I ever done to deserve this? He definitely has a very, like, you know, I'm not messing with the world shouldn't mess with me kind of mindset. I fell to the floor and just sat there for a while, heartbroken, staring dejectedly at my now swordless Igniston. Oh, Jesus, he had another flash in his mind of the scene. Once the storm of anger and confusion had passed, I found my mind filling with visions of her face, along with that modern art I'd seen. I'd actually been physically holding one of those stakes, which means it couldn't have been a delusion. It had all been real. Really wanted to deny it, but there was no way I could. By tomorrow, it was sure to be all over the media. It would be interesting if it wasn't. And then he really starts questioning if it was real or not, and like what the hell the stake is. I really, really didn't want anything to do with this nightmare. There was no way associating with that girl, no, that demon, could bring anything but catastrophe for me. Hell, we'd only just met for the first time, and there had already been a disaster. Her hair color is way too suspicious, though. After all, I'd brought home a critical piece of evidence from that incident. One of the stakes that had been used in the murder. I wouldn't be surprised if that on its own was enough to make me a suspect. And if things weren't already bad enough, that demon had seen my face. There was no way out of this mess. At this rate, that demon was going to... No, forget about that. For now, I should focus on getting things sorted in my head, for my own sake. If I valued my own life, I really needed to figure things out. Chat with Shogun, whose eyes are those eyes? Mystery... Oh, okay.
間違いない。
It does seem to be the case that Shogun is the murderer.
あの写真は事件の予告メッセージみたいなものだったんだ。
And they targeted you for some reason. Like, she has some interest in you. That's the part that's completely unclear here. Otherwise, there'd be no way the image could have matched up so perfectly with the crime scene. First, she'd edited that image together, then she'd recreated it in real life, right down to the finest detail. That was how the crime had happened. No, in her eyes, I bet it was more of a work of art than a crime. So that's the thing. So she uses, like, Photoshop to, like, edit a murder together, and then she recreates it in real life. That's a very, like... I feel like a very, like, otaku serial killer. And what's crazy is you have to remember, she sent, like, what was it? Like 13, 14 pics? So I'm assuming those are all future murders that haven't happened yet. So I'm wondering if our guy's going to go to the chat and then open up the other pics. Or go to the chat and see Shogun messaging him. She seemed like that kind of psycho, dedicated to finishing any job with nothing but sheer perfection. I mean, that's pretty common for serial killers.
頭がおかしいよ。
Fair.
でもどうしてそれを僕に。そもそもあの女はナイトハルトが僕だってどうやって知った。僕の名前をどうやって知った。
All of these are good questions. What was I supposed to do? Like, you're clearly a target of hers. Not necessarily to kill, but you're a target in some regard. That demon would definitely come to kill me soon. If she already knew my name, email, and all that stuff, there was a very good chance she knew my home address, too. Curled up into the fetal position in my chair, the image of that twisted murder was etched into my mind. How could I stay calm when I could end up that way, too?
死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない。
That's really good acting. Oh, whoa, flashes that... Please, for the love of God, tell me that wasn't like hieroglyphs or something. Oh my God. Is this Sarah? Is he about to have a Sarah delusion? Yep! Seraton lay sideways on my desk, facing toward me with a smile. I mean, to be fair, Seraton's hair is like pink. This other girl is like kinda pink.
タッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。したら、あの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ。
Damn. Become even more of a hikikomori.
そのうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。
This is crazy.
それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
Oh, this is so sad. You can't trust anyone. Don't listen to anything that anyone says is crazy. And as he cowers even further into his reclusive nature and his delusion. That is wild. The music, too, is crazy. They're playing this, like, sweet music. I feel like the music's gonna come off really low in... I think I need to bump it to there. And I think... because I feel like when I edit this, it's gonna be too low.
悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはノー。
Damn.
できるっしょ、タッキー。
It's crazy how in his delusion she calls him Taki too.
でもセーラ、
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし。
He who runs away lives to fight another day, huh?
3次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関係ないことだって思えば気が楽っしょ。
It's got nothing to do with me is crazy. I've already had to deal with this enough in Danganronpa 0. Now I'm scared that that was a reference to Chaos Head.
関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。
Dude, now I'm really scared that that's a reference to Chaos Head.
いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまり誰にも攻撃されない。これぞ最強の自己防衛方法なわけさ。
The super strongest is wild. Girl literally trying to... Dude, his own delusion is trying to brainwash him into being a hikikomori. This is crazy.
だからタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
そうかもしれない。
Oh my god. This is crazy. Just what I'd expect from my waifu. I can always count on her to give me the best advice. This is nuts. I do like her design, though. It is pretty cool. There's a lot going on with it. I like designs that have an unnecessary amount of stuff going on. You know, she's got, like, so many different, like, pieces of clothing. The nipples are crazy, though. I'm not gonna lie. Also, the underboob is kind of crazy, too. Having regained my peace of mind, I reached out for my hand for Seraton, lightly grasping her by her slim waist. Even as her faces drew closer, her smile never wavered.
ありがとうセーラ、おかげで勇気が出てきた。そうだよ、3次元なんてクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。
We'll see about that. She seemed like she didn't... I don't know if she likes you, but she seemed like, at the very least, she didn't dislike you.
僕は安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり、好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
I mean, that does sound like nice. I don't know about the ESO part, but the rest of that sounds cool.
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だぞ。
うん、分かってるよ。
Interesting. I couldn't trust anyone. I wouldn't listen to a single word they had to say. All I had to do was be cautious of everything in the 3D world. As long as I did that, everything would be just fine.
セーラにそこまで心配してもらえて僕は幸せだな。さてと、それじゃ気分直しに演すろっと。
I would consider going to sleep, but I guess whatever works for you, man. This is insane. What the fuck was that? Hello?
Ryan Cross, Ryan Cross, 約束は今。
Okay.
Ryan Cross, Ryan Cross, 果たされるから。
Beautiful singing.
Ryan Cross, Ryan Cross, 解き放たれた。
I feel like this is like an anime theme, like the theme to what is it? Blood. I didn't write it down, but Blood, his anime with Sarah.
Ryan Cross, Ryan Cross, 週末。
Okay, this is kind of ending. Almost every line in this is terrifying, though. Late into the night, the sound of a beautiful voice could be heard throughout Miyashita Park. Oh, new character dropped? It was coming from a pedestrian bridge that crossed over Meiji Dori. A steady flow of cars passed underneath. But in spite of this, the girl known as FES showed no sign of being affected by the noise. She simply kept on singing, leaning back against the handrail of the bridge.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
Or is this like some fate thing? Like, unironically. On any normal day, if she were to sing on the street in public like this, she would certainly attract hundreds of onlookers. Right now, nobody was listening to her sing. For FES was deliberately concealing her presence, blending into the stillness of night. I'm not sure how literal I'm supposed to take that.
この場所へつながる幻の道
This really sounds like one, I'm like very concerned by a lot of this song, but also this unironically sounds like a song that could be out of Fate. This way she could loiter quietly until the moon left the sky behind. That's a poetic way to put it. Until the moon left the sky behind. By doing so, by becoming one with the darkness, she felt as if she could free herself from the corrupt atmosphere of Shibuya. If only for a moment, that was what FES felt to be true.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
Okay, that doesn't sound like Fate. That sounds like Chaos Head. That's terrifying. Very horror vibes. Suddenly, FES looked up to the night sky. Clouds covering it were starting to clear up, little by little, leaving space for the moonlight to shine through in their wake. But sadly, any and all starlight was completely drowned out by the dazzling neon of Shibuya.
落ちてゆく安息風に手と手をつないで
This song is awesome. If this is just like a chaos, if this is something outside of just purely a Chaos Head thing, I need it. FES halted her song, then slowly reached her hand out toward the sky.
その目誰の目
She said the thing. FES, I need to know. All right. That felt like a really good place to save. The beginning, the FES shit, like, what the hell was that? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna overwrite 4, and we're gonna, for now, this will be our actual save point. I feel like this is as good of a place as any to stop the episode for now. Like, I do feel like this just felt like a good enough place. I don't know. Like, yeah, no, there's still no, like, threads for continue. I thought that might change. But, yeah, I don't know. That was the first episode of Chaos Head Noah, and I have to say, I am very intrigued. This gripped me. Like, that opening sequence really gripped me, and then we get into the head of this, hardcore, like, hikikomori, otaku, weeb, you know, style potato, and really dive into his psyche, and he's quite literally delusional, right? And he's that type of individual, but they take it to the next level where he's literally delusional. And you could definitely tell that there's kind of this... I get the vibe where I think what's interesting, right? It's early, and I'm not sure where we're going to go with Takumi, but I feel like what makes Takumi interesting is my experience with Chiyomaru is Okabe, who, while there are a lot of similarities between Takumi and Okabe, I feel like Okabe is written in a way to really, his likability comes through really strongly, I feel like. Whereas with Takumi, I'm getting a little more of the kind of you know, the Shinji Ikari vibes, where like I almost feel like this is a character that we're not, as the viewer, in this case the reader, we're not inherently even necessarily supposed to like the character. We're supposed to understand the character and understand what makes the character so interesting, as opposed to necessarily like really liking them, if that makes sense. I feel like I get that type of vibe where it's a character that isn't necessarily made to be liked, which I always think is a very interesting choice for a protagonist, but I definitely get those vibes here in ChäoS Head. And it's really interesting to see that in comparison to the reference point I have with Okabe, who feels like the cool version of this character, right? Like, I feel like Okabe is like idealized as like what you wish a character like that would be. I feel like Takumi is quote unquote, without being serious, this is quote unquote what the character would really be like, kind of thing. Which actually is interesting looking in hindsight. It's almost like, it almost makes me wonder if Takumi and Okabe are kind of meant to be like reflections of each other in a weird way. And like, that's a whole nother discussion that really has nothing to do with ChäoS Head in a vacuum. Getting back to that discussion, though, I find Takumi's character very interesting. It's definitely the type of character that I could see being overwhelming, and experiencing the story through their perspective, I think, really adds to the vibe and the energy. It's unsettling, and then there's things about Takumi that are unsettling. Not that I necessarily dislike him inherently, but I think there's just, like I said, he's just an unsettling character in some ways, right? And you know, I think I understand his perspective for the most part, but there's definitely moments where it just feels like, damn, bro, touch grass, right? And that's coming from me, of all people, so it's crazy. But, like, he's interesting, though. Like, I'm intrigued by him as a character, and I'm intrigued by the idea, how his character relates to his delusions, and how that whole package is going to evolve and adapt over time as he's put in clearly what are going to be very intense situations. And I think that type of character trying to navigate a sticky situation and not completely lose his mind more than he already has, at least, is a really interesting narrative to follow for ChäoS Head Noah. And I think it's really exciting to dive into the idea of this character exploring that, and we have the pink-haired girl, the serial killer, seemingly, and she is kind of a mystery up to this point. We don't really know what her deal is, but again, I still think, to be fair, she doesn't have like strong pink hair. It's not like Sarah, who's like outright. It's a little more unclear up to this point, but it's really interesting. I really like what ChäoS Head is cooking up to this point. Like, I'm really intrigued by it, and as my first proper experience into a Chiyomaru visual novel, it's definitely gripped me the way I expected it to. I will say I never would have predicted this plot in a million years. There's a lot of, but it's like really interesting, and I really want to dive deeper into it and see more of what it's all about, and just see how this whole thing kind of evolves and adapts. It has my attention. ChäoS Head Noah has my attention, and it's really gripped me. And I love visual novels, and I think I really love visual novels like this that really are trying to tell an interesting story, whatever it might be. And I feel like this game simultaneously feels like it's taking its sweet time, while also not being like incredibly slow and taking forever to really, dive into its meat and potatoes. I feel like in this first episode, we got a nice balance of, a slow build while also getting to really dive into some of the things that make this interesting. But yeah, I plan to keep playing this more soon. I don't know when you guys will see this. Like I said, it's July 17th, 2024 when I'm recording this. 6:19 p.m. now. I forget exactly when I started, but I think this will be a decent sized episode. I don't know how big the episodes will be. I'm not really thinking too much about any of this, but whenever this actually does come out, it'll probably either be a weekly series or a rotational series, but either way, you know, probably episodes, if everything's going well, around once a week or so, which is why the episodes will be fairly long, as how we do it with these visual novel and other Let's Play related content. I usually am posting them about once a week, but I'm usually posting probably at, you know, 2+ hour to 3+ hour to sometimes even, you know, 4-ish hour episodes. It all just depends on the scenario and how I'm feeling and what feels like a good stop point and stuff. But we're gonna, when I do post it, it will be quite a lot of content per episode, and you don't have to watch it all at once, because it's not like we're gonna be posting episodes every day or every other day or anything like that. But whatever the case may be, I hope you guys are really excited for my Chaos Head Noah Let's Play. I'm really excited to share this with you, and I'm really excited to dive deeper into this myself. But I think we're going to leave it there. I don't think I really have that much else to say before I start getting into my own delusion. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave it off there. Without any further ado, it's time for me to bid you adieu. Flamin' Shark signing out. Hope you all have a wonderful, fantastical day. And I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace